Well, hello there, everybody out there. Who's ever out there? Oh my god, we got 13 viewers already. That's a lie. Anyway, all the people out there who are watching or not watching, welcome to Love Beer Radio. Again, here back for, you wrote me this week 36. Aren't we past 36? For some reason, I thought we were closer to 40. I think you might have
This
went
was what?
dyslexic and you were supposed to do 39, maybe. Anyway, that doesn't
Yeah,
matter. It doesn't
this
matter.
was. I think this episode came about on Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So, yeah, we're going to be doing the whole Love Beer Radio thing that we typically do. We're going to talk stuff and all kinds of fun stuff. But for those who don't know, I am Matt from Massive Beers. And this is Joe and Amanda from NAPA Beer Reviews. What's going on, guys?
Not too much. What's going on with you?
Going on with me. I'll go first because Joe's got some stuff he'd like to talk about.
Got some stuff and
let's
some
see.
things.
For stuff and things, very important stuff and things.
Yeah.
Let's see. For me, what's new at me? I got a new job, so that was really exciting. So that's normal
Where are
life
you working?
stuff. I am going to work at a plastic injection molding company. Yes. It's an awesome. It seems like it's going to be an awesome job. It's like not working in the factory or anything like that. I'm basically I'm like the in-house nerd, I guess you would say, from graphic design to web stuff to all the tech stuff to computerized stuff and all that kind of stuff. That's not one person. So I interviewed there the other day, and awesome job. Way more money than I was making previously before my job. Now that it kind of took a downturn to where I'm kind of wasn't making money. Like I'm making real deal money with like 401ks and fucking benefits and all kinds of crazy kooky shit. So that's
Ooh,
yeah.
fancy stuff.
Yeah, I gotta wake up at 6:30 in the morning. That's gonna be weird. I guess you have to do it sometime. Yeah, it's gonna be a really weird transition for me. I've done the same thing. I've done the same thing. Woken up at the same time. Had the same work schedule for 18 years. So that in itself is just very foreign. That I'm gonna have to do. Wake up earlier. I'll acclimate
Yeah.
easy as
Get
anybody
used to
else
it.
would. But it's just the whole idea of having to do something like that is just it's really weird. But exciting at the same time. So looking forward to that. So that's probably the biggest thing going on with me personally. Beer wise, trying to think. Just did the show this week. We're doing a bunch of coffee stuff. It was fun doing the radio show that I do. It's typically a brewery calls in, and we interview the brewer, and they send us beer, and then we interview the brewer, and then that's pretty much it. But we're doing a kind of a theme show. We've been doing these a little bit more often, which is kind of fun. So we're doing a 2-week coffee show, to where we're just doing coffee beer for 2 weeks. But this week we did coffee beers. We had a Boulevard coffee beer. We had a Oscar Blues hot box coffee beer. Then we had what was it? The Sam Adams Nitro coffee, and then we did it was really good. Funky Buddha's maple bacon porter. That was the beer we finished with. But you had a local roasting company, Electric City Roasting Company. They came on and then talked about actual the process of coffee and how coffee is made. And then while we're doing that, the bulk of it in the middle of the interview part, we were French pressing the same beer through 4 different kinds of coffee.
That's
Kind
pretty
of
neat.
yeah. So it was really cool. You can actually taste the difference. Do you know what I mean between all 4 of them? And then next week we're doing it. We're having Carton Brewing's owner Augie Carton come on, and he's going to kind of talk more about how to get that beer flavor and good beer flavor or good coffee flavor into beer. So it'll be fun to kind of do that little kind of twist on it. Other than that, we're actually having a ton of really good breweries on the show coming up, so I'm kind of excited. Dry Lag's coming on.
Nice.
Trillium's coming on. Night Shift's coming on. Fucking, you know what I mean? We're having all these really big breweries, so that'll be fun. And yeah, I think that's about it for me. How about you, buddy? What's up with you?
Well, yesterday we went to what was by far the worst beer festival I've ever been to.
Okay, so first off, what beer festival was it?
First off, this was the Pocono Winter Beer Fest at the Sherman Theater in Stroudsburg.
And I try to do a little. I try to do a little sleuthing on this. I think they threw the festival themselves. Sherman Theater.
They what?
Didn't Sherman Theater actually throw the festival themselves?
I think they did, yes.
Okay.
So, we got there maybe around
1:45.
Yeah, maybe like a little after 1:30. VIP session ran from 12 to 1. Then general admission started at 1 o'clock and ran to, I believe, 4. So we get there and there's a huge line of people outside of the venue at like 1:45. And then, so we go to walk in because we bought tickets already. We're assuming that these people are buying tickets at the door.
Yeah.
We walk in, and the guy we show the guy our tickets, thinking he's just gonna like do the little fucking like QR scan code thing, and we're off on our merry way. He goes, no, you got to go wait in line. And we're like, so, what? So we go back outside, get at the end of this long ass line. Maybe not even 5 minutes go by, and another person comes out and was like, if you have tickets, like come inside to the inside box office, and they could take care of you there. We're like, all right, cool. Like signs would have been nice, but we're wait. So we go in there. The people that had pre-bought tickets go in, and we get our paper tickets exchanged for like an actual ticket, like an actual ticket stub.
How much was the festival?
We got our tickets for like 20 some bucks, but I think people spent upwards of like maybe $30 or $40 on these tickets.
So the MSRP $30 or $40, you got some kind of deal, and then VIP was probably a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're probably looking maybe over $40 for VIP, probably.
Okay.
So we finally get in, and now I don't feel like I have to yell over the washing machine now because I think it's stopping. So we finally get in, and now we're waiting to go through security.
Yeah.
So they have like people, making sure you're not up to no good.
You're not ISIS or just be like, are you ISIS or Juggalo?
The guys had to get patted down, and they just looked at Amanda's purse. They just like shined a flashlight in her purse, which is fine. Whatever.
I mean, like you could have, like if you had something, you could have like given it to me. And
Yeah,
I would have gotten it.
but
And
that's beside the point. So we get in, and now the entrance to the Sherman Theater is like it's like the old school like movie lobby.
Yeah, isn't there 2 doors on each side of a bar, kind of get into the main part, right?
Yeah, to get into the main part. So like the first area is like a little lobby area that kind of looks like it was an old time movie, like a movie theater. So we go through, and now in the main, like once you passed into the main area, there was a bar right in front of you that had, also Irving Cliff was like the first brewery you hit, because they're not too far away from Stroudsburg. They're in Honesdale. So Irving Cliff was like basically center stage, right out front of the festival. It was the first people you actually hit.
Like in the foyer area, not actually in the In the main
in
area?
that lobby area, like that lobby area that I described.
Okay.
So they were in there. Then the next part was a bar. So like a bar kind of concession area that had like Shipyard, someone else, and Shawnee. The only reason I knew Shawnee was right there is because I know what their tap handles look like.
Yeah.
Which is that like cool, it kind of looks like a brand, like a cattle brand kind of a thing.
It's a piece of wood with the Blair Witch Project emblem on it, pretty much.
Pretty much. So
that's accurate.
Yeah, then from there, you got into a line. And the line was in the main kind of theater section. So they had all of the seats still there. I still don't know why. So you got into this line that led up to a stage landing. And on the stage landing was the majority of the breweries. So couldn't tell you all. I saw emblems. I saw Nimble Hill there. I saw a Rusty Rail thing. Arctic and Alchemy was there. There was someone in the like far in the back. I don't know who they were. They had like some kind of Saison thing, and then there were like vendors all around. And then a band, basically center stage at a beer festival in this main area.
It's crowded, it's annoying, and on top of that, it's really loud then.
Yes.
Okay.
So I stood in line, made it up to the landing, then fought my way through a shit ton of people because no one moved. Like, if you got up onto the stage, you planted yourself and did not move. So no one else could get a beer because you're standing in, like, people are standing in front of the tables where the breweries are. So there's zero, there was zero flow to the entire thing.
Was it more because of the layout, or is it more because people were like, okay, I want what I want, and I'm not going to move because it's so packed that I'm just not going to move because I'll never be able to get back?
It was the layout. It was probably a little bit of both, but I think mostly it was the layout. Like this, there was one way on, and you couldn't even get out that same way. You had to walk, you had to fight through all of the people and go around to the other side of the landing to get off of the stage.
Okay.
So it was a pain in the ass. The way I kind of described it was, there's beer here, but you just can't have any of it.
Well, you could have it. You just had to pick one or two and then fight your way to it, and then you're done.
Yeah. Yeah, like there, and you can't even like be polite and be like, hey, excuse me, because the music's at a level to where you can hear me talking. You just had to be a dick and like plow through people. And I'm like, I don't really feel like that right now. I just want a beer.
You couldn't even pick what beer you wanted, really, because they didn't have a map of any kind. Usually, at least like Electric City Brewfest, they have a map showing you where each table is. You couldn't see through all the people, so like you just kind of ended up where you ended up, and if you want that beer, okay. If you don't, tough.
Yeah.
And the kicker is, I mean, based off of which is atypical for Pennsylvania, based off the list I saw, it was Wegmans Mix of Six. It's no different beer wise, it looked like, than the ones we have around here. It was just down there.
Yeah, there was zero. It was the first year of the Electric City Brewfest all over again. But with the exception of all the breweries that people wanted at the first year of the Electric City Brewfest were in the same spot. So it was crowded. Like Stone was up there, Dogfish Head, all of like the big name breweries were in one area and no one could move in that little small spec. If you went to the other parts of the festival, you could move around fine. This time was every brewery is right there, and you can't move around because no one is, like, security, God love them, they're like yelling at people, like, move, like you can't stand here. You have to move. No one can get beer.
I had
Do you
2 beer bowls, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you
I
think
had 3.
Do you think with the amount of people that were in there, if it was planned differently or done differently,
Yeah, it would have been way better.
That's what I mean. Do you think it was oversold, or do you think it was organizational?
It was.
I think it was
both.
a bit of both.
It was oversold, and then they didn't compensate with organization. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I think it's the first beer festival to happen in that county. So chances are it's the first time the beer distributors there are doing a beer festival, because the worst part about festivals in Pennsylvania, for people that don't know, is that they're pretty much, the reason why beer festivals in Pennsylvania suck is they're run by pretty much, you're at the mercy of distributors. And what happens is distributors are basically going to run the festival, even though if you throw it, they're running it, because they're going to be able to give you what they want to give you. Like, you're not going to go to a festival and you're not going to get like high-end shit from any of these breweries. It's all going to be staple beers from all these breweries, because since it's run by distributors, they just want to push beers they give a shit about, which is moneymakers. So they're going to give you the core lineup, and so you have a bunch of breweries that are distributors that never did this before, along with probably Sherman Theater never did it before. So it's just a bunch of fucking people who didn't know what the fuck they're doing, it sounded like, running the show, because it's easy. It's just a beer festival. People come and drink. It's easy.
Yeah. Like, no, it's not. Like, you have to make it so that people can actually get things.
Like, I walked in there pretty much overwhelmed from the get-go, because I just kind of have this, like, irrational hatred of really big crowds. Like, I turn into a completely different person when I cannot move, and then there are people all around me. So
that sounds rational to me, not irrational.
No,
but I get like okay, so if there's a band that you absolutely love and they have a concert and you know it's going to be crowded, you're probably still going to go, right?
Nope.
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
Well,
no. I'll go, but I'll go, like, if I go to a place I know is going to be like super packed, I'll like camp out in the area where nobody is on purpose. Yeah. Like, rather than be up on stage, I'll go in the bar area to get in an area where, okay, I'm in the bar, so that excludes like a good portion of people, because a lot of people go to bands or under 21, and then find an area that's not too fucking packed. You know what I mean? Even if it is packed, so that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, like, if I care enough about something, like, for instance, like a band that I really want to see, like, I might go, but then, like, once I get there, if it's too packed, like, I am not above leaving early just so that I feel okay again. Yeah. So this was kind of like I got there and, like, I was just like, no, I can't do this.
Yeah.
It's a bummer.
So it was.
Yeah. It is.
It's a bummer because you're like, okay, I'll go to this thing, and then hopefully I have a good time, because then it'll encourage me to go more. Now you're just probably like, fuck this shit. Festivals suck ass in PA. You know what I mean? Like, my one buddy's like, hey man, you should throw a fucking beer festival. If I ever threw a beer festival in my life, I'd do it out of the state. I'd just be like, I'd go somewhere. I was like, I'll do it in Binghamton. I told him, if I ever do it, just that way I'm not in Pennsylvania. That way I don't have to deal with that bullshit, and I can actually get good beer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Really.
And that's the thing too. And we touched on it before when we talked about festivals. You're talking about, you got tickets for $20. How many people got tickets for $20? So you have, mix and six selection beer at a low price. You know what I mean? It's gonna bring out, fucking whatever. You know what I mean? And just make the thing a shit show. I mean, it sounds like the organization or the theater or whoever's running the show is the first person at fault. But at the same time, it's also, a $20 fucking festival. What do you expect?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we got our tickets off this site like called Perks or something like that. And yeah, so like I think a decent amount of people got their tickets from that. And then, like I said, there are people who I feel bad. There was somebody when we were leaving. We didn't even last an hour there. That's how fucking shitty it was. I'm like, I need to get the fuck out of it. Like,
Yeah.
this is like now I'm bummed out because I'm like I want to be drunk, or at least like sort of buzzed, and I'm not. So let's go home.
Yeah, you just
and
want
then we went to Breaker. So that was way better.
Yeah, and you had a better time. That's the thing. Like, that's funny because like a lot of people I know, like, or not a lot of people know. What I heard was a lot of people were like, "Yeah, I fucking left and went to a bar down the street and had a way better time and spent about the same amount of money." You know what I mean? Like, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck that place. Fuck that noise. That's why I hate festivals in PA, man. I don't hate them anywhere else but in Pennsylvania. Not that I've been to 9 billion of them, but yeah, they're not doing themselves any fucking favors, man.
No.
Ugh. And that's the thing, though. It's like they're the same fucking festivals over and over again. You know what I mean? It's fucking mix of six selection bullshit. That's why
it was literally like the island that had like Nimble Hill and Rusty Rail and Artistry and Alchemy. It was the same exact like backdrops, everything as at the Electric City Brew Fest.
Yeah.
That we went to in November. Like, this is the fucking same. I'm like, I can't even go and like fight my way. If anyone that I knew from Rusty Rail was there, I would have fought my way over and said hi. But I didn't recognize anyone that was there. I think the flyer said 3 guys and a beard was there. I didn't see Johnny unless it was all like brewery reps, not brewery reps, like distributor people that were pouring, which I would assume it actually was.
Honestly, I mean, like even looking at the signs, I didn't see them, which it would have been great. Like I said, if they had a map telling you where everything you liked was, instead of where you wanted to go.
Yeah, like there was no reason for the poor organization. Like they should have realized that like this. I was talking to Brad for the few seconds that I was able to, and he was saying like the VIP section was fine. It was like 100 people in that kind of setting, and it was perfect. General admission was like upwards of 600 people, and it was terrible. You know,
and that's not even that many
like
people.
A theater that. Yeah.
That's not that many people. Like they should be able to accommodate that many people in the Sherman Theater at a beer festival with 0 issues.
Mm-hmm. Well, if it's laid out the way that I described, no, they can't.
Yeah.
Because it's terrible. But had they moved all of the seats out and brought like.
I don't think you can. I think they were attached to the floor. I think that you're talking about right when you walk into the theater part. There's like a row of seats towards the back.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's like like all the seats that are like on the main area. They're like black, like theater looking seats. They look like they actually did. I looked at it. They didn't look like they were bolted to the ground. They looked like they were stuck there, but.
Last time I went to Sherman, I'll give you an idea. You entered in through this way. Here's like the bar. The bar is like right here. There's a door on each side. Yeah. You come in this way. The stage is over here. It's like kind of like flat, and then it bows down to the stage. There's only a set of chairs in the back area here, and this whole area was empty and open. And from that back area to the stage was like 20, 30 yards.
Okay. When we were there, like all right, so this might have been a different layout. I don't know. But like you kind of walked down toward the stage. Like you were up. Yeah. And like all the chairs were in like probably the sloped area that had nothing when you were there.
Yeah, a good portion of it. Like, well, let's put it this way: if it was the FM Kirby Center, the only chairs that were there were the back third amount of chairs.
Mm-hmm.
When I went,
Yeah,
if you
like,
were
there was no reason they
associated,
couldn't have.
if you were to
Yeah,
associate
like
it with how, like, if you were to take the FM Kirby Center and lay it out the way when I go to the Sherman Theater, only the third of the chairs all the way in the back are at the Sherman Theater. The rest of it's all ripped out.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the way it was, or?
No, that's the way it should have been. They should have had
Oh, okay.
like there was a bunch. Like the chairs went. I don't know, because like they had, like I said, they had this like this landing in front, and like the there was a spot for like the sound system, like sound check for the band was like right to your right as we walked through the one door.
Okay, well, I mean, regardless, it just sounds like a fucking dumpster fire. So, yeah, it sucks, man. Well, you know not to go back.
Yeah.
At least for a couple of years until they prove themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, really. Ugh. So that was my big kind of rant for today. And like I said, then after the show, or after the hour, or not even hour that we were at the festival, we came home and we went and had a couple beers. Actually, not a couple beers. We did the full flight of everything that Breaker had on tap yesterday.
Did they still have the Nor'easter on?
Yeah, they did. That was real good.
Yeah, did you like it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
dug.
The Goza was cool. I thought it lacked a little bit of like spiciness. It wasn't salty, but it was more just salt than spice. I just like a little spiciness of my Goza.
I thought it was really good. I liked how not like in your face sour it was.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't in your face sour, but I was conversely disappointed with their whatever, the cherry sour or the berried sour they had on. It was less sour than the Goza, and it was supposed to be a sour. Did they have that one on?
It wasn't on. No, the other sour that they had on last night was their Quiet Canary.
Yeah, I think that was it. I think that might have been it, but it wasn't a sour at all.
Yeah.
No, it really wasn't.
But they don't even really do like traditional sours. They don't deal with like when we were talking about. They don't deal with like crazy bacteria or yeast or anything like that. They just kind of sour. I don't even know how they sour their beers, but it's just done.
I think they sour mash.
Okay, honestly. That would make sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So.
They had some kind of beer. I forget what style it was, but it had anise in it.
Oh, their firkin yesterday was their Kolsch with pear and anise.
How was that? It's a Kolsch with anise. Anise can take over a beer pretty fucking quick, and a Kolsch is a tiny beer.
The Kolsch, it should not. I don't think a Kolsch lends itself to cask conditioning.
Yeah.
So it was kind of watery. It was like anise water a little bit, unfortunately. So that was a bit of a miss for their cask beers that they've done.
Yeah. Got to be really spot on with that pronunciation too. You say anise water the wrong way, it definitely sounds way worse. Wah wah.
I'm not saying it how everyone else says it. I don't care.
Yeah. So yeah, what are we talking about today?
Today, we're talking about breweries, kind of bigger craft breweries that have expanded. So my initial thing, which I didn't update, but I'll update it now, was just kind of talking about California breweries, and then immediately after sending it to you, I'm like, we shouldn't just talk about California breweries because other people have done it as well. But your breweries like Oscar Blues and has New Belgium expanded out of Colorado
No.
onto the East Coast or no? Okay,
No,
I thought they did for some
Oscar
reason.
Blues, Sierra Nevada.
Sierra Nevada, Lagunitas expanded outside of California.
Yes. I'm missing an
Stone.
obvious one. Stone, that's the one I'm missing, yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about those guys and what it means for the beer scene in the areas that they've moved to. Then we're going to be reviewing Troegs Perpetual IPA.
What's your date on that one? Date on mine.
Hold on. Freshest by... I don't know. I have like a weird...
Mine says 050416, so it's 5416, so it'd be... You know
okay.
You know what I mean? Mine would be May.
4816.
No. Lindo's slinging some old beer, baby. Got this at a Wegmans Mix of 6, and it's fresher. Yeah, what's yours? 4 what? 4 what? 8?
4-8.
Yeah, so
16.
Month difference. That shouldn't make too big of a difference. I mean, it's a heftier beer, so yeah.
Our good buddy Brad was helping me out at Sabatini's today.
Oh yeah, he's working. Oh, it is Sunday. That's right. I forget he works on Sunday.
Yeah.
How was it? Did you pick anything else up while you're down there?
No. I just wanted the three beers that I could get of what you showed me, and I figured that would be good for probably a couple episodes.
Oh no way.
No.
Yeah, I forgot to. Yeah, I'm gonna drink every one I bought.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, you know what I mean. Like I don't have any beer right now that I want to drink in my house. So I just bought a 6er. I'll drink the 6 over the next week or so. So yeah, drink them and enjoy them because I won't have them next week.
All right, cool. No problem. Anyway, so review Troegs Perpetual IPA, and then our second topic is kind of like climate change in brewing, and this is more California specific, and kind of our opinion of the drought that I think California is still in was kind of a catalyst for some expansion.
The way I rewrote it was more like reasons for expansion out of state, from simple growth.
Okay.
From simple growth to logistics to climate to the 9. Because I think honestly, I mean, we'll talk about that when we get to it. But I explained.
We're not having like a political or philosophical discussion on it.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about, first off, we're going to talk about breweries and just expansion in general. Expansion out of state, because we're not talking about every brewery expands, obviously, and moves, you know what I mean? For example, Jack's Abbey in Boston, they expanded to a whole new brewery about 20 minutes away. That's not what we're talking about. Yeah. There's breweries that have to move for that reason. We're talking more like bigger breweries that are open up in satellite locations and shit like that. So you're
opening up an entirely new facility outside of where you originally were.
Yes. So start off. You go first.
All right. So like we mentioned before, I think the biggest group, or the biggest area that has had this kind of expansion is North Carolina. So you see Sierra Nevada and Oscar Blues are both out there. And I'm going to kind of go back and forth between what I think it means for the area and just their general expansion as well. It's a weird, I think it's going to be a weird scenario, or I don't know, weird might not be the best word, but Sierra Nevada is now a local brewery for someone, where before it was something that they that they picked up because, oh, this is from out of state and I want to try, you know, Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. At one time or another, everyone drank. Everyone has had a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. You know, it's like kind of like it's kind of the it's almost one of like the first steps into craft beer.
Yeah.
And then you try it a couple of times and then you never drink it again. Unless it's like the best thing on tap at a place,
Yes.
which has happened a bunch of times. But I think it'll be interesting for the culture of the area that they're in. Is like I said, they're now a local brewery for someone. But on the flip side of that, it's better because, especially for us, because of our distribution system is pretty fucking shitty. So we routinely have to fight to get beer fresh. So having some of their, Sierra Nevada, obviously coming from California, does fucking IPAs out the ass or hoppy beers. So having them sit around is something that happens quite regularly, unless Sierra Nevada literally came to the door of your bar and handed you a case that they were like, this just came off of the line. It was always old. I'm going to switch gears and talk about Stone for a second. I wanted to review Stone's Ruination for the longest time.
Yeah.
And never found a super fresh bottle. It was always, the bottles I picked up were always within a few days of their Best By date.
Yeah.
Or they were always after the Best By date. So that was pretty shitty. But now, if I want a fresh Sierra Nevada beer, it's not going to be a crazy old bottle unless it's Bigfoot. Then I want a crazy old bottle. And you're probably on the same page with that particular beer.
I wholeheartedly agree. And just before you continue, you were right about New Belgium. I spaced on that. I'm just doing research while you're talking, and they are one of the companies. I ignored New Belgium because they suck, so that's why I didn't realize that they had expansion there. But
yeah,
they did.
Which would also kind of go along with what I'm saying. Like New Belgium was I'll switch gears again and talk about New Belgium now. They're a company that by rights could have been in our area. Like fairly easily. They're a large brewery in Colorado. So they could have expanded into this area, but having a brewery on the East Coast now definitely helps them because it's, I don't know, it's most likely one of their philosophies that they should have, beer should be getting to people's doors or bars, restaurants, whatever, in the freshest state possible. So having a satellite brewery would definitely benefit that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the reason. The breweries have to expand. So instead of expanding outward of the brewery you already have, you go East Coast. There's that stretch from fucking Utah to fucking the Mississippi River where there's nothing. So you're taking, gallons and gallons and bottles, cases of beer through the scorching fucking Midwestern sun. You know what I mean? That's why the breweries expand out this way.
Yeah. But I'm gonna turn it to Amanda for a second because she brought up a really good point about Lagunitas.
Well, I was just thinking that some of these breweries, they have characteristics that are kind of specific to the area where they started. For instance, we were talking about Breaker. They have the whole coal mining thing going on. And I said to Joe, because he said that Lagunitas went to Chicago, right? It's kind of funny to have a brewery named Lagunitas in Chicago because it's a very California sounding brewery. So I feel like them moving around has to do something to, like, you know, how much they identify with the community that they're in.
Yeah.
To a point, I think that's a romantic way to kind of look at it. But honestly, 99% of the time, the breweries move because of tax breaks and fucking like they get all these helping hands. Perfect example. I forget which brewery it was. It was one of the big ones. It was Stone, or it was Oscar Blues. I think it might have been Stone. I might bet my less testicle on this. That Stone actually was going to go to Bethlehem, but they got better tax breaks in fucking North Carolina, so they went there. So we could have had Stone in fucking Bethlehem. Did
Stone open 2 places? I thought they skipped the East Coast entirely and just went straight to Europe.
No, there's a place Stone has a place in North Carolina too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I believe so. Or was it? See, this is where I didn't do research beforehand. But one brewery was looking at Bethlehem.
Okay.
Or it might have been Oscar Blues. No, I think it was. But anyway, they were looking at the East Coast, and they were gonna go Okay, they're in Richmond. They're not in North Carolina. That's what it is.
Stone's in Richmond?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
that's
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm messing up my states. Anyway, and they were gonna come to Bethlehem, but they got better tax breaks, so that's why they went where they went. So that's pretty much why all the breweries are going where they're going. They're basically having the city or the state are basically being like, okay, you'll get fucking whatever. What do they call it? I forget what they fucking call it. It's some kind of code. They get zoned a certain way to where they don't have to pay taxes for a certain amount of while, and then once that's up, then they have to start paying taxes. And there's a lot of businesses do it. There's the place across the street from us that theater that's kind of opening up, the fucking whatever the fuck it's called. I'm blanking on the name now. The Leonard Theater. That place is tax exempt for years. That's the only reason why it's opening now is because the owner bought it 10 years ago, and it was coded tax exempt. So he bought it and didn't do anything with it and didn't give 2 fucks because he wasn't paying taxes on it, and just let it sit and rot for 10 years. And then all of a sudden, his tax exempt status was coming up, so that's why he sold it, and that's why people are turning it into a theater now, because the guy was forced to do something with it because he was like, wait a minute. He's like, I'm going to start losing money now. Okay, I'll sell this place.
Yeah, really.
So that's why all these breweries kind of are opening up, and that's why North Carolina or the South is a hotbed, because they just gave them like unbelievable tax exempt status to where they could just move in there and fucking do whatever the fuck they wanted to do.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense to do that. You know, go where you have the best fucking deal. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wouldn't go. Like I would take. I wouldn't take Bethlehem over someplace that was giving me a better fucking deal. You know.
But it also had to do with a lot of other things, because it's like, you know what I mean. Like Bethlehem would be a cool idea, but I mean, breweries have their water situations down pat, but I think North Carolina also had a lot of similar water table that the fucking West Coast had, so it was a thing where they could. So they could, they still had to do some kind of, you know, reverse osmosis filtering, yada 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 bullshit to their water. It was close enough to where they didn't have to do as much as they would have if they moved to a different area.
Yeah, I mean, they all do that, and they're all these breweries are experienced enough where that's not a big deal. You know, if they have to, add stuff to their water to make it just right, that's not a big.
Well, Joe's dying. I don't know if Joe's dying or I'm dying. But, no, I mean, it's not a big deal, but it is the biggest of deals, if you think about it.
It is, yeah.
Because consistency is key. I mean, you're talking about a lot of the big breweries, you know what I mean, your Miller Coors, the whole nine. They pretty much just fucking irradiate and fucking nuke their fucking shit to the point where it's just all going to come out the same anyway. When you're talking about breweries like Sierra Nevada and Stone and fucking Oscar Blues, and then you're making specific beers that need to taste the same, whether they're East versus West, and that's where it all comes down to is being as consistent as possible, and it all starts with the water.
Yeah, and what I'm kind of getting at is it's easier for them than it is for a smaller person who may not have experience with treating water already, you know.
True, but it's also like it's like one of those things where it's the reason why I think it's harder for the larger brewery is because they need to replicate what they're doing somewhere else. A lot of smaller breweries, their nuance and the way their beer tasted is a terroir thing, to where the water is giving that beer certain this, whether it be mineral deposits, salinity, the whole nine. Their beer tastes that way because of the table they're working with. Now, maybe they didn't think about that when they first started their brewery, but it became part of the brewery. You know what I mean? So if they moved, they'd have much more issues with changing the water table. It's like on a smaller scale. We talked to it's a nice kind of comparison. Like when Oscar Blues moved, when we talked to them on the radio show, that was like one of the things they had to deal with was getting the water right. You know what I mean? But so they were like, okay, we know we're going there. Let's get the water right. Where it was also like when we talked to Carton, they were going to move because they kind of out expanded their area, and it was hard. And they still didn't move. They figured out how to expand within because they couldn't move because they couldn't really find a place that would work with them at the same amount water table that they needed to work with. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a weird kind of like shit that most people are like, oh, it doesn't matter. You just fucking use water.
Use the water that comes, that stuff that comes out of the sink in the basement.
Yeah, but I mean, to speak to like just in general, like the whole like expansion, like why? I guess you would say, I don't know, or what does it mean, or like why are breweries doing it? Is that the second part we're going to talk about? I guess.
That's the second topic. The first part, like the second bit of this one, is like kind of what I touched on in the beginning. Like how does this affect what do we think is gonna? How does this affect the beer scenes of this area? Because there's already like, if it's like basically Sierra Nevada just moved in next door, pretty much.
What do you think about that on the flip side, though? Do you think people like at Sierra Nevada's satellite location that have been there, like community people that have been there for so long, that were like, this is our brewery, or now? Do you think there's a little bit of like, oh, they're like the old school, they sold out kind of deal, even though they're not selling out, they're just becoming bigger, but now it's not. Sierra Nevada is now not just that area; it's two different places. Yeah. Same thing with like New Belgium or Stone or whatever.
Yeah, and that's what I'm kind of not that I'm getting at, but that's like what I was thinking for this particular part of the topic, and like I said, like I think it's interesting. I don't know if you would necessarily think like, oh, Sierra Nevada is going to be a local brewery to me now, and this is like, I don't know if it's going to be. I think what you just kind of described was like the people out there are like, this is our brewery. This isn't a California brewery anymore. Was that kind of what you were?
Well, okay. Yeah, like more so like, for example, like we view Breaker as our brewery, but if they got big enough to where they open a couple places on the West Coast, you'd be like, well, does that lose some local cachet? Does that now they're not just ours, they're somebody else's? Do you think the people who live in that original area feel that way, or do you think it's no big deal? Like, oh, we have the original, we're still the original, blah 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 blah.
I think it's probably for the people that lived around them and went to Sierra Nevada's tap room, to Oscar Blues' tap room, to New Belgium's, to Stone's, to all of these different places. I don't think it's that big of a deal to them because they're just expanding and adding another place. They're not like underneath the AB InBev umbrella now, and I think you'd see a bigger backlash if that were the case, rather than we just have a new brewery on the East Coast now. You know. What do you think?
Okay, I mean, like, I guess that's kind of what I was thinking too, was like, well, I don't really know how to word what I'm trying to say, but like, you know, if they move elsewhere, does it kind of like, do the people who were in the original area, how do they feel about it? Like, is it like local anymore, or does it seem different to them? So I don't know, like, I think that if, say, like, for instance, if Breaker had another location, like, I don't think it would bother me much. I think I'd be like, oh, good for those guys, like, they're expanding.
Yeah.
But I think, like, if they just up and left, I'd be kind of disappointed.
That would be a different. Yeah. That'd be a way different scenario. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of things, technically, Breaker's already moved. You know what I mean? They started in Plains. You know what I mean? And they really, you know, they had to again. It was their garages, whatever. They're still producing beer that was going to market. You know what I mean? And then they had to expand, so they moved. You know, 15 minutes away. You know what I mean? It's a small drop in the bucket as far as time and all that stuff, but they still, you know, already moved. So, but it's also like, so the weird, when you brought the subject up, I had a couple thoughts in mind. One was talking about that, like, do you think, like, local people give a shit? I think they give a shit to a point. As long as their brewery stays there and they're making really good beers, that's all that fucking matters. It might even go the opposite direction, to where now they feel like a sense of pride, to where it's like, hey, look at me, my brewery. Everybody gets to have my brewery now.
The place I went to every day is now over there.
Now, the flip of the script is how it's like a weird thing, because it could help or it could hurt, is how do you think other breweries feel? Like local breweries. Like, for example, like North Carolina and South Carolina, like all the breweries are kind of relatively close to each other. This is the list of, this is an older list, but there's new, this is a decently old list, but there's like a list of, I have here about almost 15 breweries on this list who are all expanding a year and a half ago, and a third of those were relocated breweries from the West Coast. But you have breweries like Wicked Weed, you know what I mean? You have breweries like fucking Green Man Brewing's a big brewery. What else here? There's one other one that I saw that was bigger. Burial Brewing, like, and then you add New Belgium, fucking Oscar Blues, and Sierra Nevada to the mix. Do you think those breweries are like, hey man, we were fucking here for like 20 years and now you guys fucking come in here? Or do you think it's more like more the merrier, people will come here for those guys, so we're just going to get more and more exposure?
I think that one, and you know, I could be wrong, you know more about it than I do, but I think that one thing that I kind of got a sense of from the brewing industry is that people don't seem to be really competitive, because I think that if you're really into beer, you're going to try beer from different places, and it's almost like even like people who work in certain breweries, like they're gonna check out other people's beer too, and they're gonna like hang out with them, and
that's true. But but there's a difference between
it's tough
being comrades with other breweries than another brewery opening up 10 minutes away from you.
Yeah.
True.
You know what I mean?
I think.
Yeah.
I haven't been down to North Carolina to see all their breweries. I haven't been to Wicked Weed. I haven't been to any of the West Coast Oscar Blues or breweries that have expanded out into that area. But I'm gonna assume that Oscar Blues and Sierra Nevada opened rather large breweries, so they're going to need a pretty industrial area to occupy, just to fit all of the things that they wanted to put in there. Where again, not knowing, and if someone is listening from the South, please let me know. Please correct me. I would very much like to know. I'm assuming that Wicked Weed is a very smaller, sort of brewery, to where people can get there fairly easily.
More
Whereas
center community driven as opposed to being on the outskirts of like a fucking business area is what you're talking about.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm getting.
Oddly
at.
enough,
So,
I actually go ahead.
So what I'm thinking is, on one hand, it's, hey, good for you guys, like let's all do this together, and on the other hand, it's like I said earlier, Sierra Nevada just opened up next door. So what can we do to make sure that we still have our customers coming in? And, you know, everything is driven by locations. So hopefully our location still warrants people to come to us rather than going out to them. Yeah.
Oddly enough, I actually know a little bit about just in the two breweries that you mentioned. Oddly enough, Sierra Nevada and Oscar Blues. Oscar Blues opened up in a fucking warehouse, in like an industrial warehouse area that is all business. But Sierra Nevada actually opened up in like a fucking mountainside, to where they made it like a fucking getaway haven for fucking like outdoors people. Like they specifically put their brewery on a river so you could like kayak to the brewery, get some beers, and keep on kayaking, kind of thing. So it's like even like two different weird like areas that they like. This is what I've heard. You know what I mean? So take that with a grain of salt, but from good sources. To where like Oscar Blues is just like totally utilitarian. Like, okay, there's a factory going on here. There's an office with an office manager running a plant. You know what I mean? Whereas Sierra Nevada is more like, oh, let's make like a hippie fucking commune kind of getaway kind of place.
Should those be switched around? Because you said Oscar Blues was like in the side of a mountain and people could kayak.
No, I meant Sierra Nevada's the awesome one. Oscar Blues is the shitty one. If I mince words, it was just a verbal mistake on my point. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, it's the Oscar Blues ones is just like straight up just utilitarian and fucking warehouse. Whereas Sierra Nevada is just like some like awesome like getaway location that you can actually like float around and go mountain biking from the brewery and then come back and drink some beer and that kind of vibe. So even both places take a different fucking stance on how it's done. I mean, and what you brought up point-wise is right. You know what I mean? Obviously, a brewery, a small brewery, whether it be Wicked Weed or whatever, it's not going to be like, let's find a location that's very secluded that no one can find. And then we'll build a brewery here. Now, you need to build within a community, obviously. But it's also people coming in there. You know what I mean? It's not like like Amanda said about like the brewery industry is really cool, and they are, from what I've heard. But it's also like, you know what I mean? It's almost like, you know, if McDonald's opens up next to a local burger place, you know what I mean? And as much as you want to be nice, there's still like, not to call, you know, Sierra Nevada McDonald's, but you still have a big guy be like, oh, fuck. You know what I mean? Like, we're sitting here, we're making good beer, we're doing a good thing, we're just getting by, and I understand the locals might be like all about us, but if they can get, you know, a relatively similar beer at a third of or 2/3 the price, you know, we might lose business, and that drop off of 1/3 of a percentile of profits might do us in. You know what I mean? So as much as you want to be like, hey, everything's hunky dory, there's still probably a little bit of like, I don't want to say angst, but a little bit of nervousness about having people move into your backyard.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah,
I think we should do a review.
Yeah, let's do it.
I think so. Grab another. Do you want to just use the bottle?
Yeah.
Grab up.
How about brewery jobs? Have you had any kind of leads? Anybody call you or any information?
I just sent a bunch of stuff out today. Glued on. Yeah, I just sent my resume out to a bunch of spots again today. So I'm gonna see what you see what happens. You know, just kind of keep looking.
For those that don't know, who weren't here, we're going to be reviewing Troegs Independent Brewing Perpetual IPA, Imperial Pale Ale, 7.5% alcohol by volume, 85 IBUs. Let's see, hop-wise.
We didn't review Perpetual on the earlier show.
No, we reviewed we did their, I don't know, did we?
I thought we
did. Didn't we do we did a smaller, lighter beer, I'm almost positive.
Cultivator?
Not Cultivator. I don't know. If we did, we're doing it again. Anyway, we're doing hops in this Bravo, Chinook, Mount Hood, Nugget, Citra, and Cascade. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Label-wise, what do you think about the new Troegs labels? They redid their whole line.
Yeah, I think they're neat. I mean, I like the gears inside the hop thing. I think, do I have
an old Perpetual?
I don't know. I'd have to dig around for it, but I'm pretty sure I have a Perpetual IPA from somewhere. Like when they came in the Bombers.
They had Mix of Sixes. The Mix of Six at Wegmans had these and the old ones there. I was kind of tempted to buy both just for fun. You know what I mean? Just to be like, okay. I you know what? The whole labeling line from Troegs, the new stuff, I think is a push. I don't think they made the labels better. I don't think they made them worse. I just think they're equally as Troegsy. You know?
Yeah.
If that's a word. But
it has like a very like aura kind of look about it. Like there's the green lines coming off the white all around the handcrafted by Troegs brothers, and the Perpetual IPA, you know, Imperial Pale Ale has the same green lines coming all around it. It has like I don't know. It's people can see on my iPad. For those of you who aren't actually watching this video or listening to it after the fact, you might not care. But here's what I'm talking about. It has sort of like a weird light, like kind of like a light effect kind of going on.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the one that we did before, because I know we did do one. It wasn't Dreamweaver.
No. Did we review Troegenator? Was that it?
No. Let me see if I can look it up. Well, I'll look it up afterwards, because I don't want to let the sucker sit. Decently creamy head on it. I tell you what, mine is fucking magnifying glass clear, and it looks like it's snowing upside down. The carbonation is beautifully mesmerizing. It's creepily cool looking. It looks like snow upside down the snow, and it's a magnifying glass. I literally, if I had a hard time seeing shit, I could just hold it up to the back of this glass and be able to read. So, yeah, and it's got a nice yellow, honey kind of color to it. So,
yeah, it does.
Let's see what she smells like. Have you had? When's the last time? Obviously, you've had it. I've had it, but I can't remember the last time I've had it.
Yeah, it was when I was at school. I was on a trip into Premier Gourmet, where I bought all beers I take for granted.
Oh, that when you went and got Victory and Troegs and all that?
Yeah.
No, it smells nice. It smells like bright and fruity, but not overly leaning anything. It doesn't smell like super citrus. Doesn't smell like super stone fruit. Doesn't smell super tropical. It's kind of like a very nice bright fruitiness. That's what I get.
I kind of get a floral sort of honey.
Yeah, I could see that too. Yeah, the floral part, especially. Yeah, she smells super crushable, and she's not a small beer. I mean, she's 7%. Yeah, so I mean, she's flirting with the imperial side of things, So yeah.
It does say Imperial Pale Ale. So.
It does. Well, I mean, a double. As in, instead of IPA, double IPA-ish. Once you get to 7.5%, 8%, you're looking at double IPA. You know what I mean? Jerk. Fucking. You know what I meant. Anyway, Cheers.
Cheers.
Not really.
It's not super bitter.
I get a decent amount of like dankness
It's a
from
very,
it. Like what?
very clean bitterness. I'm also coming off of Mindfire from Breaker. So
Blow your
I'll
palate
have a
out with
little-
some fucking jalapenos there, buddy.
yeah.
I agree with you. It's not overly bitter. It's kind of like at the very end you get some of it, but it's not very strong.
Yeah. It's a very clean beer.
The dankness is like a weed dankness, not like weed like marijuana weed. It's like it tastes like you ever smell like the fucking the vine of a tomato, like that kind of weed.
Yeah.
Like actual weeds that you pull from a garden kind of weediness.
Yeah,
and
it does have that kind of aspect to it.
And we did do Troganator. We did review that. In episode 20, we reviewed it. And then
Wasn't too long ago.
Yeah. Cause magic of the internet, baby. So yeah, it's just a good beer, but it's just not my kind of IPA. It's old school, is what it is.
Yeah,
It's like
I had this. First time I had this was like soon after they released it. So like one of the maybe the first or second time they actually released this beer, it came in a bomber and it was fucking fantastic. And then they released it year round. And I think the year-round release of it kind of didn't really do it any favors, as opposed to like this is a seasonal release and we really we kind of has more of a feel of like we take our time with this beer and we really try to like dial in and hit this and this, as opposed to like, all right, we're pumping this beer out now year round, got to make it like here's a batch that we like, let's make it like this every single time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think it. To me, it's kind of like it's just old school. Because I mean, this beer's been around for fucking forever, right? Perpetual, as far as I can remember.
Yeah.
Not
couple years.
Yeah. So it's like it's kind of like
at least 2011, 2012.
Yeah. So what I get from it is a lot of, okay, we want to try to appease both crowds, so let's do a little bit of East, a little bit of West, and just kind of throw it in there. It's not overly malty in any which way. Easily drinkable. You know what I mean? A lot of people who are in a classic, like kind of, it's trying to be apropos. It's trying to be a Sierra Nevada beer, as far as what I can see. You know, it's trying to be their line of beer.
I can see that. It's a very, like I said, it's a very clean IPA. Bitterness for me isn't quite there, and Amanda's palate is a little bit better than like at this point than mine. And I think you're pretty much on point with the bitterness.
I think that it's like IPAs are a style of beer that I don't really like reviewing because I feel like I'm too like I really don't like IPAs.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's going to affect anything I say about it.
Yeah.
I think that the fact that it's not too bitter, like this is something that I could probably sit down and drink for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm not really impressed by it either because I feel like somebody who really likes IPAs might not be too crazy about it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So let's talk about it, man. Like, is it one of the better IPAs you've had as of late? I would say no. Not that it's not good. It's just not. I mean, you hold this up to what we both typically enjoy, which is the newer school stuff. I mean, you hold this up to Brown, and it's no fucking contest. You know what I mean? To me, you know what I mean? And I think this is actually a little bit less.
Hold this up to anything I had last night at Breaker. It's nothing. It's
yeah.
All the detonator beers that I had last night blow this out of the water.
Yeah.
It's not like it's terrible. It's okay.
Yeah.
But is it something I would buy?
If I were
Buy again? I actually this would be like if I'm gonna have like a barbecue and I'm having a bunch of people over. This is like if I went and just bought like a case of mix of sick shit. I might grab a couple of these because I don't know who's gonna be there, and maybe it might float their boat just to be a good host. That's kind of where this beer falls for me. You know.
I would get this again as like a summer. I want something to drink, but I don't want anything like too crazy, and I'm going somewhere. Like you said, I'm going to a barbecue, or I'm having people over, you know.
Yeah.
So
This would be a good beer to throw in a blind PA IPA showdown. You know what I mean? Where you just have, I don't know, a Mandy or something, kind of set us up with like 10 beers blind and just judge them, which ones we like the most to see if we know what the fuck's going on.
That's a good idea, actually. You guys should do that.
Yeah, I'm all about blind shit. It's just impossible to get fucking done. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, logistically, it's fucking hard. So, hopefully people will send us mystery beers like our last mystery beer, and then we can do more mystery beers.
That was a lot of fun. I really like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a Perpetual IPA. Is it a good beer? Yes, it's made well. It does what it's supposed to do. It doesn't appeal to me on the level I'd like my IPAs to kind of work, but is somebody going to think this is awesome? Yeah, I'm sure there's fucking droves of people that like literally just talk about, oh my god, Perpetual, it's so good. I mean, just out of curiosity, not that I give two fucks about what the bros or the rates beers of the world say, but I mean, I'm curious as to what rate beer has this as. I bet you, since in my eyes, this leans West Coast more than East, I am going to say this has a decent score. Because it seems like those beers score well with most people. Before I click on it, let me think. This is going to be above the 80s. Let's see what they say here.
This scores above the 80s?
Yep. And here you go. Rate beer, which when I want to see what old school people think about beer. Okay. I go to rate beer. Like when I want to actually delve into a beer, if I actually go on those sites after I drink a beer, and if I want to see what other people think, because I don't do any of that shit beforehand. But I like to kind of just see what people have to say about beer, just for the sake of bringing it up. On rate beer, okay, because that's the one I go for, like more old school style beers. Troegs Perpetual IPA, overall and style, both 98.
Jesus.
That's what I'm saying. This beer's been around forever. When did it get added? It's been around forever, and it just appeals to the old school, man. I'm telling you, that's what I get out of this beer. Is that it's the Sierra Nevada style. 2011 was the first review. So it just appeals to that old school crowd, and I think the old school crowd are very boisterous and voice what they like about their beers. They want their kind of piney, danky kind of beers that are not over the top fucking West Coast, but enough to kind of make them enjoy shit. So yeah, 98. How about that shit? And just to follow it up on Beer Advocate, it's got a 91. So
yeah,
people love this shit, man.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. Like you said, this could appeal to like your old school IPA drinkers.
Yeah.
You know.
What are you doing there with that glass, buddy? You get a little fancy with your glassware there, huh?
I know. This was a Christmas present from my buddy here.
Well, Spiegeloo stuff.
Yeah. That's the stout glass. So I'm going to grab a stout and try it. I think I'm going to get one of the stouts that he gave me.
Which is?
Great Lakes, Ohio City Oatmeal Stout.
Okay. I don't hate Great Lakes. Their fucking blackout stout is delicious. Fucking Chill Wave, I could drink. I could put that in an IV and I'd be happy. That's a brewery. Actually, that's a brewery I'd like to visit. Actually, let me rewind and rephrase that. That's a brewery I'm going to visit. I'm gonna do I'm gonna do a brewery. I'm gonna go to Ohio this year. Now, if I have my new job and I'll have fucking disposable income and time. Oh, and I'm going to Boston. How about that shit?
Oh, are you? When?
Mm-hmm. I am at the end of February. I'm going to Boston, and this is all speculation. So those out there watching and listening, if it doesn't happen, it's what I've heard, but who knows? But I'm going out with Derek, the guy I do the show with, and I'm going out with George, and we're just gonna go for an quick overnight trip, and I might, and people out there may be like, who gives a fuck? There's a good chance we're just going to be hanging out and just chilling, just me, George, Derek, and Jim Koch for about a couple hours drinking beers, just the four of us chilling.
Nice.
That's going to be fucking cool. If that fucking happens.
Yeah.
So, like the lady, the rep from St. Adams, super cool. Derek's been known her for a while. She's treated me fucking awesome. And she's like, oh, you guys come out. She's like, I'll hook it up. We'll set it up, and we'll just hang out and drink some beers, and just you can get like the just sit around and drink beer kind of tour thing that we do every one couple times a year with just individuals and shit. I was like, fuck yeah, motherfucker. So hopefully that fucking comes to fruition. So that'll be fucking fun. Anyway, how's that beer?
It's really good.
Does that glass make it taste better? It was an okay beer, now the glass makes it taste like even better? Or?
Let me try out of Amanda's.
That was a joke. That was a total joke.
It has like a bacony smokiness to it.
It does have a bacony smokiness to it. That's actually not wholly unpleasant.
I have loved that glass you have for so long because I see a butt plug every time I see it. You know what I mean? That's what I see. Like if you were to continue the glass part and cap it off, that's what you see. That's like a high end butt plug. That's why I've always thought that glass is funny looking. Don't laugh at me. It's what 99% of the other people are thinking too. I just said it. Anyway.
You're just the one to say it out loud. The bacony, smoky flavor in this glass is actually lessened compared to the Le Fin du Monde glass that Amanda is using right now.
Are you being serious?
Yes. I wanted to try it.
Smash the glass against the bar as hard as you can right now. Fuck you, glass! Yeah, talk about, excuse me.
You're actually right.
Yeah. See? I'm right.
And then if Amanda says that, then we know it's for reals.
You know it's true.
Yeah, that beer we had today on the show, that Funky Buddha, that maple bacon porter. Talk about, there's bacon and maple in that motherfucker, man. Holy shit. It was like, remember when Rogue came out the maple bacon donut? It's like everything you thought that would be, this beer was. Do you know what I mean? It was this like crazy kooky. It was like, it tasted like a coffee. You know what it tasted like? It tasted like a McGriddle breakfast combo from McDonald's. It tastes like if you took a coffee and you put a McGriddle in it. You know what I mean?
You French pressed your coffee through a McGriddle.
McGriddle? Yeah. And then coffee. That's exactly what it tasted like. It was like, okay, I'm drinking McDonald's breakfast right now. This is kind of kooky. Yeah. But that was a fun one. You just brought up bacon, and I just thought about it again. Only because we did the show, we had that roaster on, and she, people about, and the funny part is she's like, people about who are into coffee are like coffee purists, and the way that beer kind of people can be that way too. So you talk to somebody that's really into coffee, you know what I mean? They're all about black coffee. They're like cream and sugar. Fuck you, that's sacrilege. Do you know what I mean? Fuck you, you don't put cream, you don't put sugar in a fucking coffee. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there with my Dunkin' Donuts going, really? Because
this is pretty fucking good right now.
And, but we're, passing around, we did, a Boulevard, and they came out with a porter that had coffee in it, and then we did another coffee beer, the hot box, and then we started French pressing all those coffees through We did a Lagunitas Hop Stupid. That's the base beer we used, and French pressed it through 4 different kinds of coffee. And then we did the Sam Adams Coffee Nitro Porter. So it was a lot of coffee beer without any extra stuff. And then she's like, okay, this one actually is pretty good, blah, blah, blah. And then go. And then we got to the end one, which is the maple bacon coffee porter from Funky Buddha, which is like, you know what I mean, like over the top sweet. So when she drank it, she couldn't even swallow it. She had to spit it out. She's like, what the fuck is this? How did you guys, she thought we were fucking with her. She thought we, like, gave her beer to, like, fuck with her. And she was like, oh, why are you doing this to me right now? And we're like, we all love this beer. And she's like, really? Because it tasted like sweet with, like, cream and sugar kind of coffee thing. She's like, it was so foreign to her, so it's just weird.
Yeah, you know, like coffee, how everyone else drinks it.
Mm-mm. Anyway. Second part of the show, we're talking about, what are we talking about?
Reasons why breweries would expand. And we kind of touched on this in the first part of the show, but we'll do it again just to give ourselves more time to talk. So you brought up a couple of good points, you know, one being Stone, looking at Bethlehem, but picking Richmond because of the tax breaks. I think we can look at that kind of stuff, and that's things that might not be extremely apparent to people, and that's more of like going into a particular area as opposed to the base reasons for why a brewery would expand in the first place, and then reasoning going out of state as opposed to, you know, expanding within themselves or expanding in their state. So I kind of, some of the you know, the reasons for expanding are the obvious one. You need more space. There's
Yeah.
You hit a certain spot, you know, you get to a certain point where you're now at capacity and you need to do more. Or you can, if you're small, you hit a certain point where, all right, we need to get bigger within ourselves so that we can put more beer out and keep up with our demand. So these, like, we're primarily focusing on the larger side of we're talking about the larger side of small breweries, because in the grand scheme of things, even though Sierra Nevada is very big, their overall beer footprint is
a drop in a bucket compared to everybody else.
Very small.
Yeah.
So it's really weird to, like, I've always said it, like, I've always thought of it this way, like, Dogfish Head is a huge brewery, but Dogfish Head is also a fucking tiny brewery compared to other people, you know? But I think expanding for, you know, someone like Sierra Nevada and Stone and Lagunitas, I don't think expanding within California was possible for them. I think they had to look at other places. They've already exhausted the expanding within themselves at the location they're currently occupying, and the only viable option was to go somewhere else, was to move out of state. And like I said before, I didn't know that Stone was in Richmond. I thought I was under the impression that they had skipped over the East Coast entirely and just set up the brewery in Berlin. So that was actually really interesting to hear. So yeah, this is like
Is that a sticker?
I don't think so. I think that's like a logo that's on there. Amanda is looking at the sticker or something that's on my glass. But anyway, now I lost my train of thought. So someone else talk.
Well, I mean, you're talking about like. Go ahead, Amanda. Sorry.
Well, I think that, I mean, you brought up a couple points that I didn't think of. Like, I honestly, granted, like, I don't know as much about it as you guys do, but like the whole tax thing, I didn't even think of that. But that's a really good point. Like, I guess, you know, it depends. The situation depends on the individual brewery and what's right for them, what they feel is right for them at the time. So there could be a number of reasons why they decide to go elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, expansion is what. I mean, it's a good problem to have. It's what most breweries want to do. Most breweries hopefully have to expand. There's a lot of breweries that fight it. There's a lot of breweries that fight expand. There's some breweries that do not give two flying fucks about becoming national brands. Come to mind, Odell Brewing out west. They've said multiple times they just never want to distribute really outside of where they are. At this point, New Glarus is much the same. They just want to be distributed in Wisconsin, and they could really give two fucks about anybody else. So there's breweries that don't care. Then there's breweries that specifically choose not to expand too big. Those are a lot of them you see in New England. You see Farmstead, Treehouse, Lawson's Finest Liquids, stuff like that. They have such a cachet from rarity and from hard to get that they actually don't want to expand, because if the Alchemist had enough production to where he could fulfill nationwide, his beer wouldn't be nearly as special. So that's where almost like breweries don't want to expand. Then you have what we're talking about today, which is breweries who actually expand, and it's a couple of different reasons. One, like you said, it's not even a couple of different reasons. It's a couple of different, paths. It's why, where, and when, I guess you would say. Like you were talking about initially when you were kind of setting this up, you were talking about like the California thing with the droughts. That has, to me, and I would really want to talk about it because honestly, it has nothing to do with it whatsoever. Because a lot of these,
like it just kind of, when I was putting this together, like I put something together, sent it out, and was like, that was fucking dumb.
Yeah, because I mean, the drought started in 2013-14. Like, if these breweries were already set in motion way before that.
Yeah, and I think that mostly affects smaller people as opposed to a brewery who can, like Stone, has basically a reservoir of water within themselves to then keep using and doing stuff with, Well,
now, here's the thing, though. I think you were right, and I'm like, you're wrong on that point, but I actually think you're right, but in a roundabout way. The reason why there is a drought in California is because of nature. It's because of how moisture and how everything is actually delivered to the brewery. Combine that with like land costs and taxes in California. I mean, fuck. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you have to open a brewery. You have to expand in a place where you can't get any water. That everything costs $1 billion to buy square inches.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be taxed $1 billion more because I'm expanding. Well, why not go to a place where I have ample amounts of water that is free, that doesn't cost an arm and a leg to fucking buy. It's common sense is what it is. It's literal common sense. Now, Chicago with Lagunitas, I'm sure they got a huge tax break, so I'm sure that's why they went there. Chicago in itself is, I'm sure it's not in the actual city itself, but to go there, it's meh. But to expand to these other areas of the country, it just fucking, like, the logistic purpose of making the beer go from east to west coast makes sense, because now they just meet in the middle. Now they're like, okay, we're here, let's go to there. It cuts off a quarter. Everybody's like, wait, it's halfway, but not really, because if you count the state in quarters, you're just really cutting it's only a quarter of the amount of time they have to, like, get shit where it's going. So it's like, it just makes sense to do that. Do you know what I mean? Now going into the future, I think those breweries that actually have expanded now will be fine. But anybody else who tries to do it in the future or tries to do it big, I think they might be putting themselves in kind of jeopardy. Because I think you're going to start seeing a retraction to more local beers going forward.
Yeah, I think so too.
So it's one of those things where it's like it makes sense. It makes sense to do that, but not forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and there's still and there's
now is.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I think right now is probably like the perfect time to do it. I don't know if I necessarily buy into this like craft beer bubble that a lot of people have been talking about is going to like. I think the reason I don't particularly buy into it is because people have been saying it for like the past 5 years of like craft beer's getting too big. Okay, well nothing's happened. It's still getting too big, you know. like it's just it's gonna keep going, and yeah, I don't care if I have to eat my words, and like in the next couple of years, something does happen where like a lot of breweries go out of business, but that's not what we're talking about. Again,
no, it makes sense, dude. It does. And I think that's the point you're trying to make is that I don't think when they talk about the craft beer bubble, they talk about how how do I put it? They talk about it as if all of a sudden people are going to lose interest in beer and there's not going to be enough beer for people. Combined with there's so many breweries that it's going to be oversaturated.
That is, I think,
oversaturated. But here's the thing. What I think is going to happen is the popularity in beer is going to continue to grow. Maybe not at the same rate, but it's still going to continue to grow. I see it fucking now. You know what I mean? Like, I go out, like, when I talk about, like, when I go and do beer stuff, it's, like, crazy. Like, even, like, when I go next door to the job I have now, and a dude sitting in a barber chair, and I was telling, like, some rando dude who's just, like, some rando dude knows stuff about beer. Not to say he wasn't some person that knows more or less than me, but it was just, like, talking about my vacation in New York, and I was like, oh, I went to this crazy small brewery up in Brooklyn, but they're really popular, and this person started talking about all this beer. It's like, that shit didn't happen back in the day. So
it didn't.
What I think is going to happen, and like I said, it's like a retraction towards more local beer, more specific beer, is if you have a group of people and 1% of the people are into something that's really good, like, well, let's call that beer, okay? And everybody else is into beer, but not in the really good beer. But then once you start having sections of that community get into good beer, but when they get into good beer, no one jumps into good beer and is drinking fucking 89 Hardys and fucking 2011 JWs. They start drinking Flying Fish and fucking Oscar Blues or Otter Creek or fucking whatever. That's what they start drinking. But if the person is into good beer, they eventually get to the point where they're into really good fucking beer. That's where the craft beer bubble comes into effect. Is that, okay, there's beer for everybody, but it's going to get to the point where everybody's going to catch up kind of in a learning curve. So then everybody, like let's say that 1% that was in a really good, and I use good beer in air quotes because there's no such thing as good beer, it's all subjective, is that now you have 50% of the beer market is into good beer. Once that happens, then you have people staying more local. Because, like, even, like, I've seen it myself. Next week, I'm posting all beer reviews that are from Belgium. Because I felt like I'm looking at all the beer reviews they post, and they're all, like, newer beers from newer places, a lot in the northeastern United States, because that's what I've been gravitating towards. But I'm just like, you know, I'm, like, getting out of I didn't even know I was getting out of that kind of what I love, Belgian-wise. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm, like, doing both Belgians for a whole fucking week. But it's like, it's that thing where I think it's like, it's all people, like, they just get well-informed. They know more. They know what they want. They know what's good. So it's going to end up becoming, okay, I'm not going to go and just try to track down even like a Bourbon County Stout. I'm going to try and go get Kane's Silent Night. Or I'm going to go try to get Breaker's fucking Black Mariah because while those other ones are great, there's so much interesting and cool beer around that I'm just gonna. There's more to it than just, you know what I mean, this, and this that are more national stuff.
I think this area in particular, like Breaker is one of the it's a perfect representation of like people getting into better beer. And I use, again, better beer in air quotes, because it's not your, like, if you walked into, you know, I think everyone, whether they want to admit it or not, has their kind of view of like the demographic that's going to be in a brew pub. And I think regardless of where you are, you're going to automatically assume that a younger generation of people are in a brew pub. They're going to be the ones frequenting the place. You know, you look at Troegs, you actually do have like younger families going in there, and they like bring their kids and they have a beer or they have some lunch and they go home. But the opposite kind of happens at Breaker. Yeah, there is a younger generation that goes in there, but you also have a very heavy older generation that are going in there and that are actually trying some of the beers that they put out. You know, I mentioned it in my I just put up my review for their chocolate mint porter. And I was at Breaker by myself, and I'm just sitting up at the bar, and it was really interesting to listen to just listen in on people talking about this particular beer. It's like, for me personally, and you could, if you're interested in what I think of the beer, go to nepabeerreviews.squarespace.com, and it's up on there. But I'm not a big mint fan, so I like the beer, but I think it was perfect for me. I really loved listening to the older couple that was like 2 seats away from me. One of them loved it, and the other one was like, I don't want to drink something with mint in it. Like, oh, that beer's too dark. You know, like, I'm using a weird Southern accent for some reason, but whatever.
But the same situation happened to me when I was there, and they put it on tap for the first time, and 2 old ladies made me drink it before they got it. Because they were like, oh, we're really can't wait to try it. You try it first, though. But it was also like, okay, when I don't remember the last time 2 old ladies asked me to drink a beer first at a brew pub so they could try it. They were interested in the beer, not in a trivial way. They're interested. So it's the same thing, you know?
Yeah. And it's really neat to see, especially in a setting like that. It's really neat to see people, like, go outside of their comfort zone, because their samples are, if you want just one 5-ounce sample, I think it's like, what, $2? So like, people are going to toss like $2 at a sample, or like $5 for 3 interesting samples of beer, you know? Like, people aren't breaking their bank to try crazy beer at this place. And I'm now in an advertisement for Breaker, which is not what we're doing here, but still, the point's the same. People can get to try different beers.
Yeah, I mean, just to even counterbalance the point, like, I Breaker's my favorite brewery in the Northeast, but they have ways to go to become.
Oh, absolutely.
To become like, let's put it this way, like, Breaker, we talked about it. You're like, every IPA they had on draft at Breaker was infinitely better than Perpetual. Well, every single beer I've ever had from Kane was better than any Breaker brewery, any beer that Breaker has ever made. But Kane is like has been only around half the amount of time.
Yeah.
So like, there's different degrees. So they have a long way to go with what they're doing, but they're on the right track. You know what I mean? Where you have some breweries or brew pubs that just do it wrong. And you know what I mean? It's just it's more focused on other things. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we had, like, you know, we've talked about the downfalls of 3 Guys and a Beard. Apparently, they're actually doing. I've heard some good and bad things about their resurrection. They're actually. It seems like they're scaling back their production to do almost all their stuff in-house in the brew pub, as opposed to trying to do, like, bottling and getting it out there to, like, actual like Wegmans and distributing and stuff like that. They're basically yanking back distribution. That's what I've heard. Have you heard anything from them lately about that?
Not lately. I've been meaning to go up and talk to them.
But that's what I've heard. But I've heard nothing about them buying new equipment or kind of maybe
I haven't heard
figuring
like that either.
or figuring out like what's what when it comes to fucking making their beer better. And what do you go with? Velvet Merlin?
Yes.
No. And then there's other stuff like I don't want to like, and I feel like and here's a weird thing. I like their beers, but I feel like that the local brewery to us, they're actually Nomad Brewery, but they brew at SBC. That's Soul Brewing.
Soul?
They had that. They came out with that box IPA. Did you have it?
Last week when I was over, you had me try a little bit of it.
Of the juice box? Okay, I forgot. Like that was like they did a bottle release for that. They did like a bottle release to where they actually sold tickets online and had people wait and like do like a thing where people like lined up and waited in line. It was the third beer they've ever. It was the third beer they've ever made. You know what I mean? So there's like that kind of stuff. Which it was a very nice beer. It was solid as can be, which is nothing wrong with that.
No,
but it's like it's also
absolutely.
like it just shows you the difference in like community when it comes to stuff like that. Like who the hell has a bottle? Who has an online ticket sale can release when they've only made 3 beers? Again, they've made more than 3 beers because obviously
apparently they do.
Yeah. So it's just like weird stuff like that, like, and that's kind of where I think Breaker kind of. I wish Breaker would actually step on the gas a little bit. Not that I want them to get ahead of themselves. I feel like they take this stuff a little bit too slowly, and take a little bit too much time to really think about it. You know what I mean? Like, and I think they need to throw a little caution to the wind. You know what I mean? So
I think they definitely should. They should kind of push it a bit more. I mean, as much as I love a lot of their IPAs, I think they should try other things. I think they could they're on the verge of getting themselves kind of stuck in a rut where they're just putting out detonator IPAs and like almost fuck, you know?
Yeah, and there's more to life than IPAs, man.
Mm-hmm.
So what else do you have? What else you got on that whole subject of brewery expansion?
Sorry. This stout glass actually fucking works. This beer I'm drinking right now, Velvet Merlin, Firestone Walker. Way roastier out of this Howard Spaglu.
Wait, I thought you said it was better out of the other one last time.
No, it was completely different. It was good out of this one. It was good out of the Great Lakes, Ohio City. Was good out of both glasses, but clearly different out of both glasses. Out of this glass, the Velvet Merlin is way roastier than out of this Le Fin du Monde glass.
I don't believe you.
Whatever.
No, I do believe you.
Down here when she gets out of the bathroom.
No, I can't say I don't believe her. I'm afraid.
You don't want to.
Yeah.
But you don't want to believe that it's.
No, I don't, because it's just it is what it is. I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else, man. Expansion-wise, I thought I had another point to make with expansion, but no, I think I'm done.
I think we covered a lot of our points, and that led to our off-topic of whatever we were going on about. So.
Yeah. Nice. Do you want to open it up, or are you good to go?
I'll open it up for a little bit. I can put my iPad onto the charger.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, before we before we open it up, let's do the whole sign-off thing. So if I start putting back, the iTunes is on hiatus for a little bit. It will actually get back up probably beginning of next month, but you could still kind of catch us on YouTube after it's over on my channel, Massive Beers. In the near future, we're only going to be offline for about a month, but you can go on iTunes and set your Love Beer Radio on there. If you guys enjoyed the show or anything in between, let us know. If you have topics, points, beers you want us to review, you want to, whatever. If you want to actually, if you have a really good, if you're from a brewery, you want to come on the show, anything that would add to the show that you think would actually bring more to the table, let us know, because we're all about having new people on, and you can reach us at lovebeerradio@gmail.com. And yeah, it's a fun show. So like I said, we're going to open it up, see who jumps on. Last time we did this, it was an abject failure, but we'll see what happens this time. I know one person is definitely going to join because they actually asked me if I could send them a link, and we'll see who jumps on. We'll talk some more beer and go from there.
Cool.
So, yeah. I feel like it's so much easier if I say that there, just to end the when I do the actual podcast. It sounds way better when I do an ending like that. I was like, okay, I'm like, regardless if we're gonna open it up or not, I have to do that. So
when we started opening up, I suggested doing the actually ending, officially ending the episode for people watching after the fact. If they don't want to watch or listen anymore, they can stop at that particular point.
Yeah, whatever. But you were talking about actually turning it off. That's what you're talking
No,
about.
I wasn't. I was talking about signing off. I was talking about here we have stopped our topic for the day, and now we're opening it up. Perhaps we'll keep it going. Or
I have it in text that it's about logging off, actually make it off the air. You actually said about making it off the air. Yeah, whatever.
Was it? I don't remember. Anyway.
Yeah, because
wild accusations.
Well, no, it was all derived around C-word, Sean. Basically, dropping F-bombs and be like, okay, maybe if we do it.
A lot of wild accusations and such.
Yes,
but,
and then
we worked it out.
And then do it that way. That way, it's off the air. That way, if I say poopy words like for schnicken and for fraggle and friggin' frackin', that I wouldn't.
Words.
Yeah, like poopy and dookie. That way, we wouldn't make the get to the old NC-17 rating.
Yeah.
So what else? What do you want to talk about in the future? Let's brainstorm a little bit online. Let's get people behind the scenes. I have a couple of breweries I'm working on.
Ooh. To come on here?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Yeah, I have a couple of breweries I'm working on. I don't want to say anything on the air.
Ooh.
I'm just saying, have a couple of breweries.
Secret?
It's not secret. I just don't want to be like, hey, this brewery's going to come on. And they don't come on. You know what I mean?
They don't come on, yeah. That's fair enough.
And subject-wise,
later.
Well, in subject-wise, we're it's a weird period of time. It's between now and I see this here. I see this on the radio show. I see this is that nothing's happening with beer at all. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing's going on. Nothing's being released other than your mainstays like Nugget Nectar, Hop Slam, that whole bullshit. There's nothing happening. All the fucking buyouts because the end of the fiscal year is over. So it's like there's no more buyouts. So there's no we got to buy as companies so we can offset profit loss margins and shit. So there's no more buyouts happening. You know what I mean? Nobody's releasing beer. Nobody's buying any companies. Nothing's happening. You know what I mean? So it's news-wise when it comes to breweries. It's just
Al isn't freaking out from Al's of Hamden.
Yeah. He should finally shut his fucking mouth. So it's okay, nothing's going on. You know what the most important thing I've heard all fucking year since the new year, which is about a month long, and we talked about this last week on a radio show, is that Guinness is coming out with a zero alcohol Guinness stout called Guinness Zero for I think it's Indonesia because it's alcohol. You're not allowed to drink alcohol there. So they're coming out with like a 0, and I find that really hard to believe. I really want to try one because even like near beers, like O'Doul's have alcohol in them. It's just like 0.0001%. So to make like a 0 alcohol beer that has legit no alcohol in it, I'm kind of curious. So anybody out there in Indonesia who's watching the show right now, all 4 of you, you should send me some Guinness 0.
We made like a soup. No. Hold on.
Yeah, your internet went sideways.
No, it didn't go sideways.
Well, either your internet's going wonky or mine's going wonky because you sound like a drunk robot right now, Joe.
Do I? Perfect.
Yeah. Oh fuck! I forget what I was gonna say now. What were you talking about? You guys made like a small beer or something like that at the.
We call it like it's like Mad. I think it's with like the Mothers Against Drunk Driving people. They call it Virgin Lager, and I actually just texted Rob from High Road, and hopefully I'll have an answer. Asked him if alcohol, or it's one of those like non-alcoholic beers with like less than
but that's the thing though. It has alcohol in it. That's why I'm curious.
I'm asking if it does.
No, it does. Making a non-alcoholic legit beer with no alcohol in it is like, like they have like, it's like, okay. They did they're doing, if anybody out there watches Top Gear, they took the test drove the Bugatti Veyron, okay? It's like Bugatti is a Volkswagen product. It's like they make like 4 a year and they're worth like $2.5 million. And it's a production car. It's a car with windshield wipers and, CD player and the whole nine and, air conditioning and leather seats and the whole thing. And it goes like 225 miles per hour, okay?
Yeah.
Or 240 miles per hour, sorry. It's the fastest production car on Earth. To go from 230 miles per hour to 240 miles per hour requires doubling the amount of horsepower. 10 miles per hour requires you to go that much more horsepower just to go that much faster because of the way physics work. That's what non-alcoholic beer is. There's still going to be alcohol in it, but you're always going to be a little bit less. It's always in there. You know what I mean? Like it's just such a minute amount that it doesn't even like really register, but it's still there.
I'm pretty sure there's like a super, super, super small amount of alcohol in like sodas. I think like if you made like a homemade root beer or something like that. There's like a super small amount of alcohol in here.
And that's the thing with the whole Indonesian like no alcohol Guinness. It's not a matter of having. They don't care if there's 15%, 5%, or 0.0000001%. It's all alcohol in their eyes because it's religious. It has nothing to do with the actual like drinking beer. It's a religion thing. So if they have to make it so there's no alcohol in it, that's the only way they can sell it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So who knows? You know what I mean? Like maybe there's some kind of threshold that they're okay with. I don't know. But my thought is I really want to try one. You know what I mean? Like
I would want to try one as well. It sounds super interesting.
Because Guinness does make a 0. I forget what it's called, but they make like a near beer. You know what I mean? They make like a non-alcoholic beer. I forget what it's called, but it's not the stout. It's just like some genera beer that has low ABV. Like to make a stout, and if they were to nail that Guinness and like fluffy creaminess, and a non-alcoholic beer, it would be absolutely bonkers. It would be cool. That's all.
Yeah. I gotta go pee. I gotta run to the bathroom. So was there a difference that you noticed between?
I think so.
Yeah. So tell Matt how there was a difference.
Okay. Hold on.
So tell me how big the difference was, Amanda. How much more awesomer the Spiegeloo glass was.
See, there's only a difference if you have a certain percentage of hipster blood in your system.
Yeah, that's what I like to talk about. Yeah, so if you're listening to Adler Brothers and have a handlebar mustache and ride a fixed gear bike, then it tastes better out of that glass. That's what I like to hear. Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, it's slightly different, but like it's not overwhelming. I don't know.
And just for the sake of conversation, Dave, 25%. I understand. I'm speaking kind of out of my ass when I talk about stuff. My point was making not the percentage, but you have to go that much more horsepower in a car to actually make it go that much faster. I was off my numbers. I apologize for not being exact, but it was more the point that you have to throw so much more into something to get such a little bit. Anyway, the comment on the thing, but I don't comment. I hate commenting on this live feed thing because half the time it doesn't fucking work. So he's been writing us on and off throughout the broadcast, and I just can't respond. So I figured I'd acknowledge his writing before he'd be like, motherfuckers, don't even write back. I write back. It usually takes me a couple days though. Anyway, have you had any good beer lately, outside of like something outside of normal stuff, or should I say stuff you had before? Anything new?
Anything new? Not really. Like I said, the brewery that, or the beer festival that we went to. Honestly, like Brad gave us something, and I was so flustered I didn't even see what it was. And then I tried that Honesdale brewery, and it was just kind of like okay. It wasn't that great.
What was the name of that place again? You remember?
I don't. I'll have to ask Joe. I had like a.
I know the brewery you're talking about, but I just
Yeah, I had. It was like a raspberry ale of some sort.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad, but.
It wasn't good.
Yeah.
It's so disappointing when like just a new brewery pops up and they suck ass. Because you want everybody, like that's the thing, like when a new brewery pops up and in this area or outside the area, like I really go out of my way to try to like get some and review it just because I want to help. Not that I help anybody, but I just want to have it and I want to talk about it, and if it's good, I want people to know about it. And like when a beer is like okay or mediocre or sucks, and I say that, I don't want to say that. Like I want the best brewery in the history of the world to open up 3 feet away from my house, and you know what I mean. That's what I want. So it's not like I'm like, oh, this place is local, so I'm gonna shit on these people because they're local and they suck. It's just
too, like. Even I'm sure even some of the best breweries had like that awkward phase where they weren't as great. So like because it's bad now doesn't mean it can't get better later.
Yes, that's the thing though. There's a learning curve, but there's a lot of breweries like to bring up Kane, to bring up fucking Treehouse, or to bring up what's that Rare Barrel out west coast that does sours, to bring up those breweries. They've only been around for like 2-3 years. You know what I mean? So, like, yes, I understand there's a learning curve to it, but at the same time, these breweries are fucking knocking it out of the park in 2 to 3 years. I don't expect everybody else to do that. I like exponential growth. So, like with Breaker, they're doing good beers and they're bring out more. Like the IPAs that they make now versus 2 years ago are infinitely better. So there's a growth there. You know what I mean? That you can actually tangibly taste and see. But like to have a brewery just rest on its laurels or never change or come out of the chute as a fucking dumpster fire is just weird.
Oh, I totally agree with that. By the way, hello everyone.
What's going on, Jordan? This is Jordan, Amanda. Jordan, Amanda.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Sorry?
She said, "Shut up, you damn Canuck." That's what she said.
Yeah, the breweries out here, just a huge amount of breweries popping up, and they're turning out way better beers than the older companies, eh? Lately?
Yeah, you see, that's what it seems like out by you.
Yeah. Also, apparently, Los Angeles has got a great scene right now.
Every place has a great scene. That's the thing, though. You know what I mean?
True.
Like any place you go to, like it doesn't matter where I go to. You always seem to find like breweries popping up. Yeah, maybe they're not next level, like superstar bullshit, but like it seems like everywhere. Like when I went to Pittsburgh, I went there being like, okay, I'm gonna go to the brewery I want to go to. Then I'm gonna go to this other brewery that I've heard of, and then we'll see what happens. And then while I'm there, I drink like the brewery I wanted to go to was awesome because I knew they were awesome, and that's what I wanted to go to see. The other brewery I went to that I knew of sucked. And then the 2 or 3 other breweries I had beers from were fucking amazing. You know what I mean? They're just small little podunk places around the corner. You know what I mean? And on traveling back, you just go like stop at a place and you have a beer from. Like when I went to New York, you know what I mean? Like 2 weeks ago, it's like these small. I go to a bar and I'm like, I've never heard of this brewery before, and there's some rando brewery from fucking Staten Island, which is like a garbage dump. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, yeah, check out one of their beers, and it's fucking delicious. You know what I mean? Like, and then like the one I'm trying to get them on the radio show, this brewery called Single Cut. They just the best IPA had balls in all of New York, and there's some crazy great IPAs coming out of New York. It's just like there's so much good beer to be had. It's just finding it. You know what I mean? It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, for sure. What are you guys drinking today?
Right now, I am drinking Erie Brewing Company's Wee Heavy.
Oh, nice.
Old Red Cease and Desist Wee Heavy Ale. It is. I like it. I like it. Is it a Wee Heavy? Not even fucking close. It's. It's not. It's not. It's not even close to Wee Heavy. I don't even know what I call it right now.
A session barley wine?
No, it's 10%, so it's session nothing. It tastes like a super imperial brown ale. Like it tastes like a nut brown ale, a 10% nut brown ale.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really not any kind of Wee Heavy. I dig it. It's giving me nice maltiness, and it's giving me a ton of like a hazelnuttiness, which I'm kind of a whore for, so I dig it. But yeah, it's all right. What about you?
Currently drinking the Sasquatch Stout from brewery out west Canada. Old Yale. Pretty good. One of the better just straight up session stouts I've had. Really toasty, roasty, good stuff. I was finishing up this guy here.
That dude doesn't suck. Me and Joe reviewed that last year sometime we reviewed that?
Yeah. I have the bottle kicking around here somewhere.
Pomegranate molasses, baby.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, it was very different, very strange, but this is the 26th, so 2014.
Is that the one we did? It might be the one we did, dude. Or did we do 2013? I think we might.
Let me see. I gotta find it.
We liked it. We just thought it needed more time. I think that's what.
For sure.
More time.
This one's a year and a half old right now, so it's aged pretty damn good. The 27th.
Well, they put a year best
Jordan,
after
is
date
yours
on it.
Jordan, is yours the 26th birthday reserve?
Yeah, right here, man.
Yeah, I got that one too.
Yeah, it's really good. I liked it a lot. The 27th one is with apricot puree, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the only one that I've ever had.
Yeah, same. A little expensive.
How much was it out by you?
26 Canadian, so about $10 American.
Yeah, no, I mean that's close because the 26 Canadian would be what American? 21?
It'd be like 18 or 19, I think.
I paid 18.
Yeah.
They stay almost MSRP at like $17.99. That's kind of what they do. So I mean, it is a little bit pricey, but it's delicious. I like that. It's like that would probably be my third favorite Deschutes wax top. Like the only things that would be better than that would be number 2 would be their Jubel. I thought the Jubel was better. What about you, Joe?
The Jubel was really good. I would say it's probably better than the Black Butte Anniversary.
Well, number 1 for me was not the Stoic, which is their like.
I want to try that one.
Yeah, that one was bonkers good. So.
This year Deschutes is putting out the 10th anniversary of The Abyss, and they're doing it in
multiple barrels.
Bourbon.
Yeah. Rye cognac. I know a couple people that have
Mm-hmm.
actually drank a couple of the variants already. They said it's pretty fucking good.
Yeah. That's one that's always evaded me. I'll go to a store and I'll ask for it, and they'll be like, "Yeah, like literally yesterday we sold out." Well. Well.
Rat bastards. Yeah, we get 0 Deschutes by me. We actually either have to travel outside the area or fucking kind of trade it in.
Yeah, I like their stuff for the most part. The fresh squeezed IPA I absolutely adored.
I never had that.
Oh, it's juicy. Best way to describe it. Like mango juice.
Yeah, that good.
Oh, I loved it. But
yeah, a lot of the Deschutes IPAs I'm not a big fan of. I had their what did I have had from them? What IPAs did they make? One that's hop something.
They've got Chasen's Freshies.
I didn't have that one.
I don't know if I've had that, but I definitely had Fresh Squeezed.
I'm trying to think of one. One was like
Inversion IPA is one. I forget.
They sent me like a what the fuck was it? Hop something is what it was. Like a hop was actually in a name. Let me see if I can fucking find it. Do.
I love the Matthew sound effects.
You like those?
Yeah.
That's the same. That's what you use for everything. Do 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 do.
Yeah.
The first time I noticed it was like I called you at the shop and you were looking something up and you're like, oh, just give me a minute, and then you're like, do 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 do. I'm like, is it finding holes? Like, what's going on?
I'm like super self-conscious about it now. Well, I just don't like force myself to like not make any noise.
It's a good thing.
Sucks. I can't
Be
find
yourself, Matt. Don't be afraid to be yourself.
Was it a hop henge or hop slice?
Nah, I could be wrong now. Now I don't see it anywhere on their. I don't see it anywhere. That's weird. Unless they discontinued it, but I don't. I can't. And he couldn't have no, because the ones that I got beers from them like 3 months ago. They wouldn't have sent me something they were phasing out. Oh, Pine Drops.
There we go.
Pine Drops, and then I had one other one. I forget what it was, but that was the one I was looking for. Pine Drops. So it doesn't have hop in there. But yeah, that one was like, it was all right. You know, Didn't do much for me. But I don't expect, honestly, I don't expect much hop-wise or IPA-wise from the West Coast people because, West Coast people make West Coast IPAs, and this is not what I like. I've liked some of the IPAs I've gotten from Coronado. I've liked some from fucking... I like the IPAs I've gotten from fucking Heretic, but they're more malt-based. They're malt-heavy IPAs.
Yeah.
But like a bulk of the IPAs that I dig come from not just the East Coast, but the Northeast. I mean, there's some down south that are cool, like Wicked Weed and shit like that. But most of them, I'm gonna be that guy who says I like northeastern fucking hazy IPAs. I'm not douchey
I've never
homer.
had them, so I have no authority. But I love West Coast IPAs.
You need Jordan. What you need to do is need someone in Ontario to get you a growler of Bronin from fucking High Road and send it to you. That's what you need to do.
Oh, buddy of mine might be sending some to me. I don't know exactly what that or Long Dark Voyage to Uranus.
Just
Something
no, because
that sounds like is that Sawdust City beer?
That's Great Lakes.
That sounds like a Sawdust City beer.
It's Great Lakes, right?
Sawdust City.
Sawdust City.
Yeah,
of course.
That sounds like one of their fucking beer names.
But no, Bronin, like the one that was like really like okay. If you're gonna be like, what's the closest thing I've had to like the New England IPA thing in Canada? It's by not even close. Bronin, by far and away, is the closest.
Yeah.
Yeah, a buddy of mine, he lives right close. Is that Sawdust City?
No.
Bronin's
Bronin
from
is
High Road, which is down just by Niagara and the Lake. Sawdust City's like out way north of Toronto, right? That's where Sawdust City is. I think that's actually where they are.
I think Sawdust City's like out in the fucking middle of nowhere. I think like wherever Gravenhurst, I think, is where they're from.
Yeah, I think it's like just go north from Toronto and get into the sticks, and that's where it is. I think that's
Toronto's just got so many friggin' breweries right now. Like
I know the one dude who worked at Duda CL's opening a brewery in fucking Toronto.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's fucking awesome. If they can make the same quality of beers, because to me it's like, I honestly just say Duda CL is the best brewery in fucking Canada, hands down, and that's with like Bellwoods and fucking Nickelbrook and fucking all the La Trace Musketeers, all of them combined. I still think Duda CL crushes them.
Eastern Canada.
Hey, if they're making better beer than Duda CL is one of the best breweries for me in the world. Probably in my eyes, one of the top 20 breweries in the whole world. So if there's a Western Canada brewery smoking Duda CL, then let me know because I'll move there.
Duda CL, I'm not impressed with their lower ABV stuff, but they're like
shut your pie hole because their lower ABV stuff is so fucking good.
I guess most of the stuff I get out here from them is aged like 3-4 months, so
But to me, the reason why I love Duda CL is because of their low ABV beers.
Really?
Yeah, because their lower ABV beers are delicious, even though they're lower ABV. Do you know what I mean? Like Roots de Especies is fucking delicious. Fucking like all their beers, like a lot of their lower ABV beers taste like 8% beers. Like their 4% beers taste like 8% beers. Their fucking 6% beers taste like 10% beers. Their 8% beers taste like 12% beers, and their snozzberries taste like snozzberries. It's fucking delicious.
Yeah, who knows? I haven't had too much of their stuff, but I guess I must have had just 1 or 2 duds.
What did you have from them?
Alt beer. So.
Well, that's your own fault.
Yeah. I had like an English IPA, which is again my fault, I guess. I forget what. A couple aged IPAs, and wasn't. Of course, you shouldn't be impressed by that, or I don't know, frick.
Yeah, like a lot of their Belgian influence stuff, and which is a bulk of what they do. They have a lot of like Belgian wits, Belgian spice ales,
Those
hefes,
are all.
their quads, their darks, their fucking stouts, the whole nine. Like they're the stuff that I know them for. Dude, their Equinox to Pretemps is like a wee heavy aged with maple. It's fucking. I just want to jizz all over myself. It's that good.
Their Peche Motel, I enjoyed a lot. The Rigor Mortis.
Yeah, they're ab 12. Yeah.
Yeah. What's that, Joe?
Is my chai, so I'm gonna try it in my fancy stout glass.
What is it?
The chai stout.
Ah, he's switching to homebrew.
Yeah.
Nice.
Joe's reached a portion of the show where he's
my-
like, I don't want to waste any more of my beer. I'm gonna drink homebrew.
Well, I'm like, what do I want to drink? I'm like, then I got the idea. I was gonna grab something else, but I wanted to try the chai. In this.
See, you know what?
this
I think you purposely are drinking it now because I think, and there's nothing wrong with this. I think you drank the beers you drank leading up to the chai stout because you wanted to see how it stands up to the beers that you drank. Because you skipped over to the kind of stout area and you stayed with lower ABV stuff, and you're like, oh, okay, I'll drink, I'll drink this, I'll drink the Velvet Merlin, I'll drink this, and then I'll drink my chai stout. I think your chai stout is becoming something really fucking cool. I think the actual the chai has died down enough to where it's like letting a lot of the beer come out, and it's still like nice. I don't want to say spicy because I don't think chai is spicy. To me, chai is more like incense in your mouth. You know what I mean? It's like a kind of like flaky earthiness, and I think it's like coming into its own.
Let's see. Amanda's pouring it. Pour the rest for yourself. Come on, something. Not a whole lot.
Treat yourself, Amanda.
Have a sleep. Yeah. If we keep this going for any longer,
awesome.
you might end up sleeping over.
I see what Joe's trying to do.
Yeah, really. It's all part of his evil plan.
It is. It's all part of your scheme.
Do you have work tomorrow, Amanda?
No, I actually don't. I had actually more days off in a row than I usually have, so it's nice. I'm not in pain.
Nice. Not being in pain is a good thing.
I'm still waiting for. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. What are you waiting for, Matt?
That was Jordan talking.
Oh, okay.
I was just going to say I am just waiting for Firestone to come to Canada finally. I've been waiting long enough.
We're waiting for Canada to come to fucking northeastern Pennsylvania, dude. Same thing. We still don't have it here.
Where in Canada are you?
Northwest Canada.
Northwest.
Like, northern Alberta. Like, you know where Edmonton, Alberta is? Or like the border? 10 hours north of the border, about.
So you're close to Alaska?
Yeah, closer to Alaska than to Montana. So, joy.
Snow. Do you have like Eskimos and polar bears and Yetis and shit?
I think at this point we're probably one of the warmest places in Western Canada here, actually.
Really?
Like in general, or because of El Nino?
Sorry?
In general, or because of the current weather trends, El Nino and shit like that?
Just right now. Always warms up in January. January, February warms up really nice, which is still like 30 Fahrenheit, So.
Oh, so it's cold. Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
It's still cold as fuck.
Yeah, it's cold as fuck.
It's moderately cold.
It's moderately cold for Canadians.
Yeah.
You don't get frostbite from touching your door, your car door,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Like.
Oh yeah, I remember those trials and tribulations of the frostbite. No, I don't actually.
I feel kind of like a wimp because where we are was really warm for a while. Like it didn't feel like winter at all.
Mm.
And now it's just getting cold and I can't handle it.
Oh, it's warm as fuck today, though.
Yeah, today was.
It was warm. Yeah, it was
Fahrenheit.
like 15 some odd. Yeah, it was fucking nice. Well, you don't have to say Fahrenheit, Joe, because if you was like,
Well, to
oh
George.
yeah, it was 60 degrees. Well, dude, if it was 60 degrees Celsius, we'd be dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was 80 today. I'd be like, oh, huh?
Oh, is
Is it
everyone
on fire outside? What did the sun move closer to the earth? What is 80 degrees in Celsius? Is that like 200 some odd degrees?
I know
It's
100 Fahrenheit is 40 Celsius. That's basically all I know, dude. Oh, and
Yeah.
minus 40 is minus 40. So,
Oh, really?
yeah.
That's a great beer name. Minus 40 is minus 40 for an ice bock.
Yeah, that would be cool. Of course, at those temperatures, you might lose most of your batch, so.
Yeah. Well,
Stronger beer.
There you go. Be left over with, like, grain alcohol beer.
Say out of all the beers you've ever made that I've tried, this is probably one of my favorites.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are welcome.
What is your favorite beer you've ever made?
There's one IPA that I like hopped to hell, and then tried to recreate, and then it didn't carbonate when I bottled it. That was the first batch of it was so fucking good. It was like a 9% double IPA that I had like in total between boil and dry hopping. I had about 9 ounces of hops.
Shit.
And then it came out so well.
That was a big hit, too.
It was.
Yeah.
Everyone fucking loved that beer. I went to make it again, bottled it, and it didn't carbonate.
No.
And I let the bottle sit for like, I don't know, a couple months, and just all of them fucking flat as hell. Like,
What was the worst beer you ever made? And worse, I mean, as in it ended up fine. Like it didn't turn south or go sour. Like it brewed, you made it, carbonated, everything went fine. You just still like no. This is fucking
I can say in my experience, Mr. Beer kits. They shouldn't exist.
What about you, Joe? Do you have one?
I would agree with that. That was one of my first beers.
No,
And I
like
didn't know what I was doing,
all
so
grain,
I-
like the way you make beer now. What's the one you're like fucking? That was just shitty.
I would agree with, but an all grain beer for my buddy when he turned 21, and it was like undrinkably bitter.
Yeah.
So that would probably be it.
Okay. I'm gonna take a wee wee. You guys enjoy yourselves.
So how's school going?
I am done.
Oh,
I'm
yeah?
looking for a job.
Nice. Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, I finished up in December, so now I'm just sending my resume out to places.
That's good, man. What kind of beers do you specialize in, you'd say?
Definitely bigger beers, like imperial stouts and barley wines.
Awesome. Can't wait to try your beers, dude.
Yeah. We had a like for our last semester, we have a project beer that we have to make. Like we're not given, we could do whatever style we want. So I did English style barley wine, and we have a competition that coincides with our our beer festival that we actually throw, and I won strong British beer with my barley wine.
Friggin' A?
Yeah.
Oh, what kind of malt profile is it in barley wines, anyhow? It's something I've never really looked into for some reason.
Typically, what I do is a lot of base malt. So I'll have upwards of 15 pounds of base malt, and then another at least 5 pounds of specialty. So I'm looking at like a 20 pound mash.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
specialties that I'll use are I really like Special B. I've been using that recently, or just like mixtures of caramel. I did a good one with a mixture of caramel 60 and caramel 80, and that came out pretty well.
I gotta say, other than just straight up roasted or chocolate malts, because I love stouts, Special B has got to be one of my favorite malts, eh? It works brilliantly in almost any big style, like barley wines, stouts.
I only recently started using it, but so far I love it. And that was in my project beer.
Nice.
I think I had a close to. I think I had close to 2 kilos in my project beer of Special B.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah.
So
that
it must have just
only
been
specialty that I had.
Cool. So you must have had just like a dark fruit bomb with that stuff, or what?
Then the Nottingham yeast that I used kind of like equaled out the. It was pretty dark fruity, like a lot of cherries and stuff.
That's my kind of barley wine, dude.
Yeah.
Did you talk to when you went down to Breaker, Joe? Did you talk to Chris or Mark? I'm assuming you did.
For a very short amount of time. Why?
So, I went down we had them on a radio show last week, and they brought the Nor'easter and fresh. I thought it was still really, really good. When I went back there, I went back there Friday night, but on the show it was like bonkers good. And they were talking about how they messed up the batch and they brewed it weird and they had to make like a hop tea out of it to kind of save it. And I think I mentioned this to you, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, you did.
Okay. So I go back there Friday and it's fucking like I got to work early. So I get there at like 7:30 on a Friday. Bonkers busy. Like the back room's packed.
Yeah.
The fucking bar's packed. Like you can't sit anywhere. And I end up finding like a table right by the door, like one of the small ones when you walk in, right in your left hand side, right when you walk in. And I'm sitting there, and I was talking to Mark because I guess they alternate nights or whatever when they work. And someone wanted to buy a painting or some shit, and he left. But he came back and he sat down and we were sitting there talking about the beer. And he's like, what are you drinking right now? And I was like, the Detonator. And he's like, okay. He's like, or the Detonator and Nor'easter. And he's like, okay. He's like, I feel really bad. I was like, why? He's like, I forgot to mention on the show, and I forgot to mention we made that with Trappist yeast. Yeah, they made Nor'easter with Trappist yeast. So they made like essentially what I envision as a double dry hopped American Pale Ale or American IPA with Trappist yeast. I was like, okay, works for me. I don't know if that's where it got that extra. It seemed like it was extra suspension, extra haze to it. I don't know. Maybe that kind of is what did it, and maybe is a secret. That might be a secret to that kind of New England kind of haze thing, using a more kind of bottle condition style yeast, not necessarily for long-term brewing and long-term longevity, but to give that extra kind of density to it that can make it extra hazy. I don't know. Maybe that's the fucking trick. I don't fucking know, but it seemed a little bit extra hazy, and I was like, okay. I'm like, it might be the fucking Trappist yeast. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah. Well, like, you gotta figure it's probably a yeast that could stays in suspension longer and doesn't necessarily flock out.
Yeah.
As easily, and I'm assuming they do very, very, very little in beers. I don't know if they talked about that at all. I don't think they talked about it when they were on here. You talked about it with them on the radio show.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a weird choice.
Yeah.
Not weird. I mean, who the fuck gives a fuck? You know what I mean? Experiment. That's awesome. I just thought it would be like weird. I'm sure it's a lot of. Again, this is me speculating. This is actually not them saying anything to me. I'm sure not a lot of what they do, but a decent portion of what they do is like, okay, what do we have on hand? Which is fine. That's totally fine. Be like, okay, let's make it bigger.
I would say that as well.
What do we have on hand? And it'd be like, oh, we don't have any fucking regular Genera America yeast or whatever the fuck it is. And they're like, oh, we have this Trappist yeast. We've never used it. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Let's make it with this. And yeah, it was. I thought that was a cute little tidbit.
That is pretty cool. All right, I gotta run to the bathroom.
So what's going on, Amanda?
Nothing.
That's not what I like to hear. I like stories. How's the gaming? How's the gaming thing going? Did you kind of like pump the brakes on that thing, or are you still going strong? What's going on with that?
Oh, I have to send you the link. I
watched.
everything.
Yeah, I watched. I know. I tracked it down. I'm just saying, have you done anything new?
No, I haven't. Well, just because I don't have the equipment for it, and I don't want to keep bugging you, so. I just kind of did it just for the project, and yeah, I know, but still, I feel like a pain in the ass.
Yeah, but, no. After about a month or so, I got curious. I did my internet sleuthing and ended up finding it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sorry, I forgot to send it to you. No, I just kind of did it for the grade, and then I had to write a blog along with it, which was interesting because. Usually when I have a class where you have to make a blog or some kind of project, you have a day where everybody shares what they did, and I think that's really interesting because everybody does something different, but we didn't have that at all, so we had no idea what everybody else was doing. So I made this blog, and, I kind of did what he asked, but I put a lot of work into it, and, of course, I posted the videos and stuff, and, I got a grade, but I was just I wonder if he actually read it. So, I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah. But thank you for helping me with it.
No, it was my pleasure. I had fun doing it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was fun editing yours because, like I said, there were moments where it's like normal Matt voice and then shouting. So, and you could even see I had the audio.
Listen,
and I was looking at it
listen. I have no idea what you're talking about. It's totally nothing I ever do. Yeah, now I'm actually I finally beat that game and beat it. And
Oh, did you?
Oh yeah, I was so happy to beat it. I didn't even enjoy myself half the time.
Yeah,
It
I
was
know
just
you said you went into this.
Yeah, I had to do it. I had to beat the game. I had to do it. It needed to be done. So I beat it because it just needed to be. So I beat it, and then I was it kind of turned me off to video games for a while actually, because I was like, I forced myself to do something that I didn't want to do. I don't know if it was like a matter of I turned myself off to video games or I finished it and there was nothing I really was interested in. But it was like there was like a lull there. I was like, okay, I kept trying to play games and nothing would interest me. But I totally got sucked in. And I actually bought a video game instead of stealing it off the internet.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, because they finally came out with like almost like a foolproof kind of like non-crackable gaming thing to where you can't actually steal video games anymore. And they came out with a new Tomb Raider, and I love those fucking games. So I downloaded that and started playing it like a couple days ago, and I'm kind of addicted to it. Like it's
What game is this?
the Tomb Raider. Just do the new Tomb Raider. It plays exactly like Uncharted or any of those third-person adventure games.
Is that Rise of the Tomb Raider or the?
Rise of the Tomb Raider. It's the second version. Like I actually enjoyed the original, which came out with like not the original, but the reboot of the original, which was like 2 years ago, I think, or 3 years ago. And the second one just came out like I want to say a Thursday, or no. It had to be Tuesday. All the games come out on Tuesday. Anyway, so I've been kind of like play a little. So now I'm like, okay, what time is it now? It's 9:21. So if I end this soon and I get to play some Tomb Raider, you know what I mean? Like I'm doing a little bit of that going on. So yeah, it's a fun game, man. I enjoy that too. And it's nice to actually buy stuff instead of stealing it. I kind of felt cool for a hot second. I was like, yeah, I'm doing the world. Doing the world good right now. I'm buying.
You did the good deed of the day, you know.
Even though I bought a Russian sold CD key at $30 instead of paying $60, so I got it for half price. Still, I paid some money.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers, America.
With a video. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. That's all right. We just got the first Dead Space yesterday and started playing that.
Oh my god, I love that game so much.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's kind of like we're kind of doing the whole pass over the controller, like whenever we get sick of it kind of deal. And I'm liking it so far.
Dude, stick with it. I'm telling you right now, Dead Space is like one of my most underrated games. Here's what you need to do. I'm sure you've done this, but what you need to do is you need to play Dead Space with a halfway decent sound system. If you don't have one, play headphones, lights off, and you have to play at like midnight, and you have to be in a completely dark room.
What, do I give me nightmares?
Yeah, totally. You have to be in a completely.
Those things are pretty creepy.
Yeah, but you're in control. Once you realize you're the master of your own domain, per George and Jerry and Elaine, you'll be fine. And like you have to be in like a really dark room and like just good sound and like playing that game surround sound in a dark room and at night you're just like, what the fuck is going on right now? Like you get all creeped out and shit. The first one I liked. Yeah. I was like, okay, this is fun. But the second and third one, I was like, I'm all in on this shit. I'm like, this is exactly what I want in my life. Do you know what I mean? Like, super creepy. Enough RPG elements with building your suit and adjusting your gun in a way that you can actually strategically do it in a way that actually makes sense for the game, but not enough to where you don't have to grind. You know what I mean? So it was like enough. Yeah. Just that. You know what it was? It was like a science fiction, clunky science fiction version of BioShock is kind of what it is. Not as far as story goes, but as far as vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah,
it's like,
definitely. Like it kind of reminded me of BioShock a little bit when you're just walking around. It's like, all right, what bullshit am I gonna come across next?
yeah,
But,
and then you like, and then you get the flicker of light in the corner. You're like, okay, and then like, but then you turn around, there's something there, and you kill it. You're walking away, and then you realize you're gonna shoot its legs off first, and you're like, You know what I mean? It's really awesome.
Yeah.
With video games, my preferences are like the new age RPGs like Oblivion, Skyrim, of course,
Yes.
but old school like Final Fantasy, Fire Emblems, stuff like that. Can't get enough. Anything with a sword on the cover, I guess.
I can't do that shit.
Yeah.
That's Joe. That's Dark Souls Joe, man. Fuck that noise.
Oh.
Dude, if
have you played Dark Souls, Jordan?
What?
Sorry?
I was asking Jordan if he's played Dark Souls.
My little cousin actually recommended it to me, and I'm like, dude, a little intense for your age, but yeah, sure, I might give it a shot. But
Do it. I love that game so much.
Fuck that noise, dude. Fuck it and its stupid ass. Let's say if we're in some kind of Orwellian kind of future to where like the state ran things and we're like kind of like the Matrix meets something, and I'm like stuck in a room and my job is to play Dark Souls, and let's say I had 3 boxes around me. Let's say I'm like strapped to a machine, and my job, like some science fiction thing. My job is to play Dark Souls, and I'm strapped to a machine so I can poop and pee and do a lot of stuff. I don't have to move, and I have 3 machines, and one machine is food, one machine is fluid, and the other machine is replacement controllers. I would hit the replacement controller button every 3 seconds because I'd be smashing the fuck out of every controller I have. Like, I would be punching holes in the wall. I would be hurting things. Like, I go to jail, dude. If someone forced me to play Dark Souls, like, forced me. It was like some, like, dude was, like, behind me with a gun.
Would annihilate you.
Well, no, I'm just saying, let's go back to, like, today. Like, I'm not talking, like, now we're in present day. Like, if someone forced me to play Dark Souls today in this environment, I'd go to jail. I would go to jail. I would. That would be the thing. It'd be like, well, he was a good guy until he started playing Dark Souls. Do you know what I mean? Like, and like, it would just, I would start breaking controllers, but it would be I wouldn't break a controller playing Dark Souls. I would play to the point where I'd get frustrated, to where I'd want to break my controller and be like, nope, I'm done with this. I'm not playing this game anymore, and I would leave. But
not even once, you know.
But if there's some weird stipulation where I had to play it, I'd start breaking things. I'd start smashing things. I start throwing my TV through the fucking windows. You know what I mean? And to the point where I just end up in jail. That's how the Dark Souls would end with me. I just can't do it, dude. I can't do it. You've died. Oh yeah, I've died. I'm like, you're gonna fucking die, motherfucker.
I think it's kind of funny that like the way that you describe how you really aren't into RPGs. Those are probably my favorite. But I can't do Dark Souls either. Like he got me, because he's the huge Dark Souls fan. He got me through maybe like a quarter of the first game.
Yeah, not even a quarter. A quarter of the opening of the first game.
But like, and the only reason why I got that far was because if I got really angry, I could just like have him get through that part. But on my own, I could not play it.
So now, after all of that, Jordan, Dark Souls is a game where you have to learn you got to learn the tricks to the game, because there's no difficulty setting, but the developers have like put things into the game to make it easier for you. If that makes any sense.
You just have to know.
Too much thinking for me, man. Too much thinking. I like to go into a place like a Neanderthal and destroy everything in video games.
Yeah, then you're not. Then Dark Souls isn't for you.
Which oddly
you
enough,
will die.
You know what I think I might play? I was like, okay, I'm definitely playing video games after this hangout. and I was tossing it up between playing Tomb Raider or because the tattoo shop I'm working at presently, the one guy brought a painting in is of a fucking King Kong kind of gorilla, but it's more like silverbacky, kind of intense, like fighting off like airplane. It's basically King Kong with like skyscrapers behind him. I really want to play fucking NES level Rampage. Remember Rampage, where you're like smashing the buildings and then grabbing the people, eating them? I'm totally gonna play that game tonight. I'm like gonna download it and totally play it. So.
Have y'all played Witcher?
Yes.
Amanda's the Witcher
I am
player.
a Witcher fan. Well, I didn't play the first one because I don't have a PC, but I played the second one, and I can't wait till I get a new console because I want to play the third one.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot, but I found I spent like 30% of the time in the brothels.
Which one, the first one or the second one?
Second.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it's kind of pervy. You can like get all up in your business. Yeah.
Well, what's kind of laughable about it is like the main character pretty much can get with like anybody in the game, and it's just like this isn't realistic. This is, and like he doesn't say anything. He's just kind of mopey, and it's like really like he just mopes around and like has sex with people. That's all he does.
And destroys the tarantulas.
Right here.
But I thought that I like
the condom
I like
fits.
any kind of like like when it comes to a game, I like any kind of like choice system because I like seeing how the choices you make affect the outcome of the world that you're in. So I kind of like that because I thought the choices in Witcher 2 were really hard to make. It wasn't like black and white like Fable.
Well, that's why I think I liked Fable so much, because it would really, I don't know, shape the outcome of the game, you know? Fable 2.
True.
I did not like Fable 3 at all.
That's fair.
Fable 3, all the moral choice in Fable is like, Amanda put it best the other day when we were talking about it. The moral choice system in Fable is like a child's view of moral choice.
Do I kick the chicken or do I leave it alone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fable 2 is the best one.
You can find out a lot about someone just by going onto the Fable game, you know, seeing how many villages screwed up, you know. I'd always have a good file. Sorry?
I can't kick the chickens. I can't bring myself to harm any of the animals.
Well, with me, I'd always have one file where I go straight and narrow, do the good thing, and then just file where I take my hatred out on, you know. And there wasn't a chicken left. I don't like.
Just feathers and blood.
Yeah, it's kind of a psychotic game sometimes.
Yeah. The third one, I liked aspects of it. Like, I thought the darkness was really creepy. But I don't know. The second one I thought was more fun.
Yeah. The second,
Sorry, go
ahead. Fable 2, in my opinion, was the best of the series.
Yeah, it was really good. I liked it a lot. So much stuff to do.
Did you guys ever play, just because you mentioned the actual, like, name, have you guys ever played The Darkness? Have you ever played those games?
I have, yes.
I love those games.
Yeah, I played a bit of it, but I think I ended up trading it for, like, Blow or something.
Yeah, I love those games twofold. I like that style of game. I like that creepy kind of first person thing. But it's like Mike Patton is one of my favorite artists of all time, You know what I mean? From
Yeah.
Faith No More to fucking like Mr. Bungle to fucking Peeping Tom the whole nine. He's the darkness. He's the voice of the darkness. Do you know what I mean? So like that whole thing, like it just kind of did it for me.
Did you ever play the Sacred games?
Sacred?
No.
No.
They were quite good. How about Two Worlds?
I played the first one, didn't play the second.
I played the second, didn't play the first. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, that one was
That's
really
like
good.
Resistance 3. I haven't played any.
See, I played that with you. Since I'm so used to putting so many hours into a video game from playing RPGs, I'm like, oh, this is over already?
Yeah, we played.
What is this?
We plowed through. Amanda and I plowed through Resistance 3 on co-op in like 3 days.
Yes. Matt, did you ever play LA Noire?
Yeah, I played it and beat it.
Yeah.
I liked it. I really enjoyed that game. It angered me. It annoyed me. It frustrated me. But I really enjoyed it because of like I feel like I'm a really good reader of personality, and that game kind of like fucked me up a little bit when it comes to that. But because I don't think it's my fault. I think the game actually is a little bit. It's not made that well because that's what they try to do. They try to do the whole like, oh, is this person lying or they're not lying? And
Yeah.
And while there was like a subtle parameter in which you could figure out if they're lying or not, it wasn't as in depth as it needed to be in order to be real for me. But I did dig it. The only part that separated that game from being world class or amazing for me is by far in the history of video games the worst fucking driving and car mechanics in the history of fucking mankind. In the history of mankind, it was like literally, it would be like to drive a car in that game. If you wanted to do that in real life, it'd be like, okay, get behind a car, but make sure it's like a car from the 40s. And then smoke some meth, and then do the baseball bat thing where you spin around a bunch of times, and then eat get sprayed in your eyes with some like mace, and then get behind a car and drive. That's actually like how it would feel to drive a car in that game. Like it was so frustrating because you actually had to drive the car and do shit, and it was like retarded mechanics. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
I hated like car chases and stuff, like trying to catch people in that vehicle. It was impossible.
One game I hated I guess not driving, but flying was Battlefront 2. Star Wars.
Battlefront. I they don't do anything for me.
I love the games just to get drunk and play it. You know, it's a good time.
Yeah. That was a good. Those were good games. I don't. From
Zero
what I've heard,
story.
like the. Oh yeah, no story whatsoever, except for like the generic like, oh, we're fighting on Hoth now. Guess who's gonna lose?
Yeah.
You know, like that kind of nonsense. But like, yeah, it's fun to jump in for a couple minutes and just kind of like have at it.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, but it's a fun game. I always like putting on the cheat code, just invincibility, and just going and destroying everything.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Speaking of Star Wars games, the one that I want to get if I get a PC that can actually run games well is Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
Oh, that was such a good game.
You know what game I would get Star Wars wise if I can fucking I can do it right now actually if I wanted to, so I don't know why I don't, is the old arcade one from when I was a kid where you're like you're riding like a speeder through the woods. It's probably, I want to say, from like the early '90s. You ride a speeder through the woods, but it's ghetto. It's like 3/4 perspective, and you're just like dodging logs and bombs and shit. And then there's one where you're like flying through space, and then the last part of it is you're like doing like the fucking Star Wars, the third Star Wars fucking Death Star run, where you're actually inside the Star Wars. I love that shit. I'm totally gonna download it after this. I'm gonna download. I have like the MAME. You ever fuck with MAME?
No.
MAME is like it's an emulator, but it emulates all arcade games, so you can get like all the arcade games from when you were a kid. Yeah. That shit's happening. Yeah. Good for, man is like, good for you. Good for you.
No, I'm glad that you're getting back.
How is that cowbell, Jordan? You held that
sour. Very sour.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best kettle sour beers I've had. Of course, I hate kettle sour beers for the most part, but this one's like friggin' sour, like right up there. And I personally like that.
You're a sour junkie though. Like you actually like it.
Like
Cascade. You would probably really like this guy, Jordan. I don't know if
Who makes
that? This is Distill.
That's not super sour though. Do you think it was super sour?
It tastes like I don't know. Did those Warhead candies? Did they make it to Canada ever?
Oh yeah.
This was like a lemon Warhead to me.
Those were my life as a kid.
Their the steel can Flanders Red is sour, like legit sour, like legit fucking like I didn't want to drink it sour. You know what I mean? Like it was like that kind of sour, like apple cider vinegar sour.
In the realm of like Cascade stuff, or
definitely lower than Cascade stuff, but still like pretty good sour.
Yeah. Well, I personally love Cascade, and that's my stuff, you know, like I love it. But sometimes you don't want something that'll destroy your friggin' esophagus and just eat away your flesh, you know? So
Yeah.
I know Matt hates sours, eh?
I don't. That's the thing. People think that. I like what I like, and I don't like what I don't like. And there's a lot of sours I feel like are challenge sours. Like people just make it as sour as possible to see if that's what you know what I mean? Like be like, oh, let's see who could stand up to this sour. You know what I mean? Like I don't get that shit. But if you make like some like more wild sours, like naturally wild sours, not like over the top like kooky sours, I like them.
So you probably like Rodenbach?
Like I like yeah. Gotta be in a mood. Let's put it this way. This is the best way I can put it. There's sours I can really wrap my head around and really enjoy. Like, you know, some of the stuff from Dry Lag, so the fucking steel fucking sour quad they did was fucking really fucking good. But a sour beer will never be in like my top 20 beers I like. Period. Like if I were to list my top 20 favorite beers, sour's not even gonna come close to being in there. It's not even gonna come close. I can like them, but it's not gonna really do it for me in that way. You know?
Yeah. Well, my personal favorites are like huge, out of this world imperial stouts and sours and like really bitter IPAs. So, I have yet to try East Coast IPAs.
Yeah, see, that's like I would go, you know, East Coast, super juicy, super hazy, super like I want my IPA to tastes like I'm drinking like almost like an. Did you ever drink like Here we go. You ever drink like an ice-boxed fucking frozen? How do I say this? See, how old are you, Jordan?
Turning 24 in a couple weeks.
Yeah. See, this is a dated reference then. So, before you were born, Jordan, there was fruit juice by concentrate. Okay. There was like fruit juice by concentrate. They haven't made it in like 15 years. Do you remember fruit juice by concentrate, Joe? Like orange juice by concentrate and fruit juice by concentrate. Do you remember that shit?
Like the frozen stuff?
Yeah, like they came in like a frozen, like kind of tube-looking thing.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Okay, that's what I view Northeastern IPAs to be like. Like, if you actually you would take it, you unwrap the tube, you drop it in there, and then you mix it up with water. That's how you made orange juice back in the day. It came frozen from concentrate. Well, if you put in a third of the amount of water that you're supposed to put in there, that's what hazy IPAs, new school juicy IPAs taste like me. Like super tropical, juicy awesomeness. You know?
I had a homebrew idea like a oatmeal IPA, but all citrus, super dry hop, super hop bursted, stuff like that I want to do. But I was thinking of, instead of like the regular sugars, put in the orange juice concentrate.
Yeah. No.
I think it'd be cool.
I haven't thought of that orange juice concentrate in years. My parents used to get that all the time.
Well, I don't even think they make it anymore. That's what I mean. Like, I'm sure if you went there like Garrity's or Redner's or Aldi's, you could find it. But
we get that stuff everywhere.
You can definitely find that shit at Aldi.
Yeah, you can find 8-track tapes at Aldi's. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, I would not be surprised.
Actually, you know what? I shouldn't even fucking say that because I shouldn't even shit on Aldi's like that. Garrity's is way worse than Aldi's, dude. Like Garrity supermarkets.
I know.
Dude, there's like you walk into Garrity supermarkets, there'll be like mold in the fucking corner and shit. Like, it's bad. You know what I mean? There's
a Garrity's 5 minutes away from us. I drive out of my way to go to Price Chopper.
And that's even sad because Price Chopper sucks.
Our grocery store ramblings.
Not everybody can live near a Wegmans. I mean, come on now.
Yes, yeah. You know. And upper class kind of people need to live near a Wegmans.
The upper class, man. I'm about as low as it can go. But it's like,
I know, right?
But it's like, you know, Wegmans is the shit, man. You can get fucking, listen, I can walk into a grocery store and pay the same price as everywhere else. That's the biggest misconception of Wegmans is that it's expensive. It's not.
Yeah.
It costs actually same or cheaper than everywhere else. But here's the best part is that it has this air of like expensiveness, so all the like fucking mouth breathing fucking dirtbags don't go there. So it's like the worst thing that happens to you in Wegmans, you have to deal with like a fucking like a Mercedes driving soccer mom who acts like a cunt, or sorry, a douchebag. And that was on purpose, by the way. I know it was. Anyway, and then get good beer. I mean, Wegmans' beer selection, while not, I mean, that's no Sabatini's. Who the fuck is?
Yeah, no.
But it's. I mean, you could get really good beers out of there at kooky criminal prices, dude. Like
that's
crazy prices.
One thing that mesmerized me when I first went to the U.S. like a few years back was they sell beer in like convenience stores. I was like, what? How does that work? And
that's not.
It works really well,
everywhere.
Actually.
Like it could be in this state, but it's not. Yeah. Like beer in convenience stores is.
I went into some shitty 7-Eleven in San Diego, just shitty rundown place, and they had better craft beer selection than like any store within a 300-mile radius here, you know. Like, I'm like, how does this work? This is ridiculous.
Well, here's the thing, like, the shitty beer selection, like the shitty store in San Diego still has like better beer to pick from. So like their shitty beer is still better beer than like any other store can fucking get, you know?
Yeah.
Like outside of that area.
Well, I went into a friggin' Costco in San Diego, or maybe it was Los Angeles. I go into there, and they have the Brewery, Lost Abbey, Stone, I think AleSmith Speedway Stout, and stuff like that for cheap. And I'm like, dude, this place, I need to move here, you know? I need to move into this Costco.
Costco, I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like $10 for a bottle of Speedway. Like, that's...
Yeah, it's kooky. Like, and the worst part is that we have it good here, but we actually have it bad compared to everywhere else. Like, Pennsylvania is like one of the shittier states when it comes to like bottle availability and sales. Do you know what I mean? Like, we pay more. Like
which state is it out there that you can't brew anything higher than 12% or something stupid?
Ohio and I want to say Maryland.
Kansas?
Maryland is one. There's actually a couple. There's a couple.
Is Utah one?
Well, no, it can't be Maryland. Maybe Delaware? Somewhere down in that area. Maryland, Delaware, North Carolina, that area.
It can't be Delaware. Look at Dogfish Head.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it has to be somewhere in that. That's what I'm saying. Somewhere down in that area. Because I remember somebody down there writing me after I reviewed Bourbon County, actually writing me from down there going, well, I wish I could get this, but the ABV precludes me. But I know Ohio is definitely one of them. Yeah, that's just gonna go away. Give it a couple of years, and that's gonna be gone for everybody. It doesn't. It's
yeah,
just,
I think that's just a retarded law.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like those laws in the states where it's like, okay, you know, if you walk a pig on Sunday in fucking North Carolina, then you go to jail for 13 years because your wife is a whore. It's like a weird law like that, where it's like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like what was it? Utah?
Like you can't.
Utah's
you can't wash your donkey in a bathtub on a Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah,
you know?
I think Utah was if your wife commits murder, then the husband stands trial. Like bullshit like that. It's like, really? And be like, what the fuck is law is this? You know what I mean? Like, oh, I said the word a pumpernickel on a Tuesday in Boise, so I go to jail for 3 years. You know what I mean? It's like, what?
You gotta wonder who started laws like that, though. Like, pumpernickel.
Yeah,
like someone just said
really,
it over and over
they're
again.
all religious people. They're all people that believe in Jesus. That's it. That's what it is. It's all religious.
Pumpernickel.
Right.
I think it might have to do with meth.
If you like pumpernickel bread, then you clearly like the devil.
Well, of course. I mean, who doesn't know that?
This is a weird segue from video games.
Of course, I am for one fan. This is a weird segue.
We're the kings of weird segues. We never.
We really are.
You know what I mean? It's not like it's like, wow, those guys are always segueing so well from subject to subject.
Yeah. No one really segues very well, I don't think. Unless it's planned.
I threw out I was really proud of it, actually. Just tumbled out of my mouth on the radio show today. They were talking about, like, I was really proud of myself, like, to the point where I was, like, probably, like, smiling too big. We did the radio show. We had the lady talking about, like, coffee, and right before the commercial break, she broke in this like this really like long, drawn out like conversation about how the bean is the most important thing in coffee. Which is, makes sense. And, you can make the best beer in the world if you use the best ingredients. If you have shit ingredients, you're not going to make fucking good beer. You know what I mean? So she's talking about the bean. She went, literally said the word bean, 17 times in, a minute. You know what I mean? She was, sitting there.
Yeah.
And, and she was just like, okay, commercial break, and they're coming back in from the break. And the dude that leads in the radio show was said something, and there was a little bit of a groovy song going on, and I just started singing, and nothing but a bean thing, baby. I started rapping about fucking. I said nothing but a G thing, baby. I was like nothing but a B thing, baby. I was like, yeah. I felt really proud of myself.
You should have told her just to be an asshole. Yeah, actually, I prefer Nabob. Or Folgers,
Oh, dude, I had fucking Dunkin' coffee. I was drinking a Dunkin' coffee. I was drinking a Dunkin' Donuts. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think I ever told you this, but when I was on the radio show that one time, and the music that they played was the metal version of Little Drummer Boy.
Yeah.
I thought about it later, but I wholeheartedly regret not going, I didn't realize I could hate that song anymore.
You should have said that.
I should have said it, but I did, at the time I didn't think of it. But I'm like, fuck, I should have said that.
Yeah. Yeah, I just spout shit out. They're I say the randomest shit just whatever. I don't care. As long as you don't curse, anything goes, so. That was did I tell you a story about the guy that said? Did I tell you a story about the guy who wrote me about cursing?
No. Oh, you might have actually.
About the guy who was
you did.
He was like, I'd like you to do beer reviews and not curse. Did I?
Yeah.
A local guy. Yeah, and then I was like, I like to curse. I'm like, I do a radio show and I don't curse. I think I did tell you. That was just funny.
You might as well. He might as well ask you to do non-alcoholic reviews,
Well, no. I mean, when I like you said, Jordan, I do a radio show on Sundays where I can't curse. It's actually FM radio, so I can't actually say any curses for an hour. You know what I mean? So I'm totally cool. I can talk for months without cursing. It doesn't come out. But when I do beer reviews, I like to be visceral and reactive. I like to be if I feel something, I want to just burst out with any kind of word that pops out of my mouth. So sometimes I say fuck a lot. Actually, you could have a fucko-meter in the corner. If the higher the fucks go, the better the beer it is. Do you know what I mean? So it's you know what I mean? Sometimes you just feel like cursing.
Yeah, in my reviews, I find I hardly ever swear at all. Or in general conversation, just.
Then I have this. Remember this, Joe? I'm peeling this off the box in the corner here. We're having fun with the Vivint. Remember these? Joe!
Well, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
The old Vivint fucking cherry doppelbock. This is sweet labels from Vivint that I have stuck against my wall. That was Jordan. That was we reviewed a beer by that company. That was the beer we reviewed. It was a plastic label wrapped around a different label beer. So they basically had cans that were pre-labeled, and they decided to make other beers. So they filled it with another beer and just wrapped another label around another label. So while we're reviewing the beer, I'm peeling the old label off, going, "Oh, it was this old beer." It was so ghetto. It was fantastic.
Yeah. Stuff like that's awesome. I know Chad did one review. Albino Rhino. He did a review, and it was just a can, and they just recycled the can, and he peeled off, the sticker, and it was a different beer, I guess. I don't know. That was an exciting story.
Yay! Okay, I think I'm actually done. Are you guys done? Do you want to talk some more, or what?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think I'm done.
Okay.
Cheers, y'all.
So we're going to sign off. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Tune in next week when we're going to be doing... Actually, you know what? You want to talk about this now, Joe? I think we're going to take next week off. It's Super Bowl. It's Super Bowl Sunday. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
Super Bowl Sunday. Yeah, let's take next week off.
Like, we'll be running around doing shit. I was thinking about trying to do it on Saturday, but like with me leaving my old job and having to do shit. So we're probably going to skip next week. We'll be back the following week, which would be right around Valentine's Day, actually. So maybe we'll try to do some kind of like Valentine's Day beers. The what?
One problem. We're actually going away. We're coming back that night, but I don't know what time we'll be coming home. So
probably
home.
You're coming back the 17th?
No, the 14th. Probably.
Okay, well let's
shoot for later in the evening. I'll let you know though what's going on.
Okay. Yeah. So let me know.
We're in Philly that weekend.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at the wrong part of my calendar. So yeah, and so yeah, maybe we'll be off 2 weeks. Who knows? But we'll try to get back at you. We'll let you know. Check both our social medias out. You can check me, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram on Tap Massive Beers. Joe, how about you?
You could find me. You can find our website, nepabeerreviews.squarespace.com. You can find me, social media-wise, at NEPA Beer Reviews on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And Amanda?
On Instagram at NEPA Beer Blogger.
So there you go. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Hopefully you tune in next time, and we'll see you later. Cheers.